not using the same live that was scheduled. We're doing a different one. Some things got all messed up technologically. So StreamYard isn't connecting to my YouTube channel right now. So I'm doing my best and just trying to go off my phone for the moment. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a lovely Sunday. I hope you're having a happy Easter. We have some fun stuff lined up for today. We have strawberry sweet rolls that we're going to be making. We have our Herbal Ally for this week, and also our new Q&A for our super chats and super stickers. So I think you guys are really going to dig it. All right. Lilith says, greetings, fellow earthlings. Well, let me try to refresh my YouTube page here real quick. And there we go. I'm going to click on this so I can see your writings so much easier, more easily. Okay. I'm just gonna, there we go. There we go, no sound. That's the best. Okay. All right. And okay. Oops, I don't know what is happening there. Okay. I'm like, oh my gosh, technology just, and technology like hasn't been working the past like couple of weeks. I don't know how it is with you guys right now, but anywho, okay. So, all right. Okay, so oh, you know what? I forgot my microphone, you guys. So maybe I will be right back. Sorry, I've been a little flustered trying to get all this technology to work, but it's all over the place. Okay, I'll be right back, you guys. Okay, I'm back. All right, so I'm gonna try to insert this dealy bob so you guys can hear me in my fancy microphone-ness. All right, Siren says, happy Easter, everyone. Sorry. No worries. Okay, so we actually have to get started with the sweet rolls first. So since it is a rather lengthy process, it's like it's a 3-hour process for these sweet rolls, mainly because there's rise time for everything, and there's 2 rises that we do. So I decided to do the first rise. So let me just go over some of the things that I did in order to get where I am now, which is this first rise. Okay, so first of all, ingredients that you're going to need strawberries, about 12 ounces of fresh strawberries. Make sure that they are stemmed and diced. So it comes out to about 1 3/4 cups of diced strawberries. For your wet ingredients, you're going to need whole milk. I went to Owens about a week ago before we left for our trip to Utah, and I picked up some fresh cow milk. And then you're going to need 1/3 cup of granulated sugar, 2 1/4 teaspoons of quick rise active yeast. That's basically one package, one little like half ounce or 1/4 ounce package. You need 1 large egg and 1 egg yolk. Make sure that they're at room temperature because we don't want things getting coagulated, and we don't want like the milk too hot and things too hot, in order for the yeast to rise and everything. So make sure that those are at room temperature. We don't want to mix things that are hot with things that are cold. We want to make sure that they're all at the same temperature-ish. And you're going to need 4 tablespoons of salted butter. Make sure that it's melted. And then for your dry ingredients, you're going to need bread flour. That's 3 1/4 cups of bread flour, plus a little extra because we're going to be putting some on the counter, as you're going to see in just a moment, because I have to roll out this dough here. And then you're going to need 3/4 cups of kosher salt. All right, so we're going to get to the filling, but I figure that's enough for ingredients for now. We can do the filling while the rolls are in the oven. Let's see. Siren says, you said in your post, this is your last live. Is that true? Well, this is the last from the last one. So this is the last one for this week, I suppose. And then we'll have one next week. So it was the last live as Kittens, Weights, and Tarot 2 weeks ago. So now we're the Savage Wild. So that was the last live. Okay, let's see. And okay, so in order to get here, first thing that I did was I placed the diced strawberries in a little bowl, and I put them in the freezer because they're going to be just easier to work with. So they are chilling in the freezer right now. Then for my wet ingredients, and a small microwave safe bowl or glass measuring cup. It says to warm up the milk. So the cow's milk that I had, it took me about a minute and 20 seconds or something to get it to about 120 degrees. So if you have a candy thermometer, that would be really good because you don't want the milk to burn. You don't want it to be scorching. So I don't know, like 105 to 115 is pretty good. I think I had mine at about 115, not quite 120, which was fine. It should feel like warm bath water, basically. So I added that warmed milk into this bowl. Then I added that sugar and I sprinkled the yeast on top. I gave it a little swirl. And then I went out to help Riley with moving our friend's trailer. Then it came back in. And it was all kinds of foamy on top, which is great. You don't want your milk too hot because it could kill the yeast, and we don't want that to happen. But we also want the milk to be warm because you want the yeast to get activated, right? So hence why it has to be at a particular temperature. So once it's all activated, you see it all bubbling, then you're going to add your egg and your egg yolk and the melted butter, and you're going to mix it with one of these Dealy Bobs. You could mix it by hand if you want, but I used one of these in my KitchenAid mixer right there for about 30 seconds or so. And then I added my dry ingredients. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to sneeze on you guys. Okay, so then with a wooden spoon, I mixed in the bread flour. Now bread flour looks just like this, and basically it has more proteins than regular bleach flour. So if you're looking to make things that rise, like breads and sweet rolls and things like that, and you want it nice and fluffy, bread flour is the best. I do like using spelt flour, but it does create a more dense product. So it's really good if you're making like tortillas and, things like that, things that you want to be really dense. Sometimes people want like really dense cakes, and things like that. And that's what spelt would be good for, but also like regular bleached flour. So anyway, I mixed in my bread flour with the salt, and then I put my little hook mixer. So this is my little hook mixer that I have for that KitchenAid. And I let it go for about 5 minutes. They say like 8 to 10 minutes, but my KitchenAid had it going pretty good on medium speed. It took about 5 minutes to get it all mixed up. Then I placed this in the warmest spot in the house, and I covered it with plastic. As you can see, there's like some saran wrap in there, and I put a nice warm towel on top, and that has been sitting, well, now for almost 2 hours, but that's fine. It's got a nice rise to it. You really only need to let it rise for an hour to an hour and a half, but I wanted to do it ahead of time before the live chat, so that's why it's been rising for so long. So now what we're going to do, now the fun part begins. So it's time for us to put on our apron. So let's do that. Okay, so Siren says, oh, glad that I read that wrong. Time Harvest is here. He says, weird, your other live is still pending. There's 3 people waiting. And happy Easter, my fellow rabbits. Well, we were having some technical difficulties, Time Harvest, so I had to just start this thingy on my phone and see how it goes. Let's see. Siren says, rumors are going around in the love and deep space community. There might be a 6th love and interest in the works. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Fancy. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to get maybe I'll put this underneath my jacket. There we go. And there we go. Let's see. Lilith says, it's been a minute. Yes, it has. And Time Harvest says, yeah, Lilith, I've been into a demonic battle. It was tough. I guess they really tried me hard. Oh, wow. Lilith's like, you survived. And he says, ain't nothing stopping this lion warrior here. Hell yeah. Awesome. Costolini says, oh, I was waiting there. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties, Costolini. I had to just start a live chat on my phone because StreamYard's being dumb and it doesn't want to connect to my YouTube channel at the moment. So I couldn't start that other broadcast. Lilith says, I just dropped a message over there that we're over here. Oh, thank you so much. And Costolini says, your state is so cool. The sheer number of red rocks is breathtaking. Oh, so you guys, the reason I didn't do a live chat was it this past Sunday is because I was in Utah. Yay! So Riley and I went out to Utah to do a bit of rock crawling in the Jeep, which means you're these really steep inclines and declines. You're going over boulders and having that cool articulation. We did almost flip the Jeep, but Riley's got some skills and he was able to gun it and get us to land the Jeep back the way it's supposed to be on the ground. But yeah, I got to do some cool stuff too. And as things happen, because you're doing extreme things in the vehicle, we busted a rear drive shaft, but luckily we got that fixed up in a day and actually had it rebuilt too. And it was a really nice guy over at, what they call it, Freedom Fleet. They're on Utah. They do a really good job. I think it's Freedom Fleet, but I'll look it up. And then we broke a left rear axle, but in Jeeps, they're floating axles. So, you know, it's okay if you break an axle. I mean, you can't really go doing hard Jeeping stuff, but you can still roll. You can still go, do things. So we made our way back and we got the axle fixed. And we tore a sidewall, but it was in one of the older tires and it was covered under warranty. So cool, got a new tire. We were able to get one at Discount Tire shipped over from Las Vegas. So that got to us in a day. Let's see, we ripped 3 fenders off, but they're just with push tabs, the plastic fenders on a Jeep. So they rip off pretty easily, but it's easy to put them back on. So we put the fenders back on. I used it as a chair momentarily in the sand. Let's see, what else do we do? Oh, and there is a new dent in the side because we were in this, it was called tight right turn. We're out in Sand Hollow. And we went in this tight space and we slammed it up against the rock right near my head. But you know what? The frame of the Jeep caught it. So, but it was a ton of fun. It was very windy out there at Sand Hollow with the red sand everywhere. I'm pretty sure I still have sand coming out of my ears. But it was a lot of fun with the Jeep Club out there and all the people I got to meet and seeing their tricked out rigs and stuff like that. So it was cool. I had fun. So, okay, let me look back at your comments here.
I still have sand coming out of my ass.
Siren says, everyone's up in arms trying to figure out who the 6th love interest would be like. Many think he might be the shadow of Raphael, like Xavier and Silas are light and shadow of each other. Same with Zane and Caleb. Interesting. And Time Harvest is Easter egg earrings. Yes, you know I gotta have my Easter jewelry on. And a little Easter pin, you know. I love holidays, you know. Sorry. Okay. All right, guys. Let's get down to it. I'm gonna take my rings off because I'm gonna be having my hands in dough, and I don't want to lose a ring in the dough. That'd be gross. My hands are clean though, by the way. So I'm gonna put that in my little apron here. Okie dokie. So let's take this off. Let's take our plastic off. And alrighty. So we are going to dust the surface with some flour. So let's do that. Alrighty. Okay. I'm going to put this down so you guys see what I'm doing. Okay, we're going to get this nice and flowery. And I'm going to take the dough, put it here. I'm going to use that roller to get this into like a 10 by 14 inch rectangle. All right, so let's spread this around. And man, there's going to be a lot of flour to clean off this counter. That's fine. It shows that we're using the kitchen. Okay, so now, oh, by the way, when you want to do a check in your dough, if it doesn't, when you poke the metal, if it doesn't rise up right away, that's good. It means it's ready. Okay, out you go. Okay, you crazy dough guy. We're going to roll you out. How about that? Okay, so we're going to get this guy nice and rolled out. It's like the dough is dancing right now. I'm just saying. And I brought a ruler. I guess it's silly, but just to make sure it's like 10 by 14-ish. I mean, right now it's making like a square, but I mean a circle. Know your shapes, people. Okay, let's get that guy. That's about 12, 13 inches by, well, it's like 11. Suppose we could bring it in a little and stretch it out. Stretch it out. And we'll get those little strawberries that have been in the freezer for a few hours. We'll get them out too. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. Time Harvest's shelf peace find us in this Easter and ahead. Yes, of course. Lilith says, amen. Hey, Venetian Ruse is here. And Siren says, honestly, I have no clue if the rumors are true, but if so, I'm super excited. Nice. Time Harvest says, why would I ask that? OMG. Lilith's like, keep breathing. You're fine. And he's like, breathing, what's that? As he passes out. And then Lil's like, oh no. All right, Sirens off for dinner. I hope you have a lovely dinner. Okay, I think, yeah. All right. I mean, it's not a perfect rectangle, but it will do. Maybe I can make it look more rectangularly, I guess. Less, whatever that is I got going on here. Okay. Look more like a rectangle, bro. It'll just be easier for when I cut. Ooh, you know what I forgot to bring? My dental floss. No, I'm not going to be flossing my teeth on the interwebs, but it makes it easier to cut the rolls once it's in a big old log. Okay. And make sure it's like not flavored dental floss and definitely not used dental floss. Don't be gross. Okay, so I'll be right back. I gotta go get my dental floss. Like I wasn't joking. Like you could use dental floss. And while I go get it, just as a reminder that when we had our Savage Wild opening, we had some winners, which I'll go over. No, thank you. Okay.
Is owned by 5 corporations. That was decades ago. Today, the name has changed.
Okay. Yes, but in our unveiling of the Savage Wild, we had a few winners. And here I am. Have my dental floss. Woohoo! So we had Costalini as a winner, receiving the personalized, intuitively created poem and song. And so that will be going out to him this week. Like I said, we're gone for a week in Utah. I did finish creating the incense blend for Lilith Phoenix, who won that. The intuitively created incense blend. It's technically a smoke blend, but it could be an incense blend, and she opted for incense. So we did that, and it was kind of based off of like rejuvenation, joy, euphoria, and releasing blend. It's a very interesting blend. I think she's going to like it. Also, my friend Heather, she won the intuitively created tea blend. So she wanted one that would be connected to her natal return. So it was really fun making that. So both the tea blend and the incense blend will be mailed out on Monday. And about Monday or Tuesday, Costalini should be receiving his poem and song. So super excited about all that. See, Costalini says, why wouldn't I be good? You good, dude. Lila says, let me rephrase. How are you doing? He said, so full of energy, it's nuts. Time Harvest says, good. I am bad. I'm a bad guy. No, not true. Time Harvest cracking up over there. Costalini said, oh, yay. Excited to hear this poem. And Lila says, wow, we so lucky. Okay. All right, you guys. Dude, it was so much fun creating those prizes for everybody. I'm just so excited. And for the people who've already bought from my shop, thank you, thesavagewild.com. Go ahead, check it out. Okay, so we have this all rolled out. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take this butter here, and it's been sitting at room temperature for a while, but I'm going to soften it up even more. And I'm going to take my little, where is my device? I had a little device here for spreading things. Gosh, where did it go? It was up here on the counter. Unless somebody stole my little spreader. There it is. I was looking for this. So I'm going to melt this. I'm going to take this and I'm going to spread it over the top, and we're going to take that frozen strawberry mixture and we're going to mix it in that cornstarch and sugar. So let me go over that real quick so you know the proportions for all of that. Okay, so you need 3 tablespoons salted butter. Check. Make sure it's softened. I'm going to soften it up a little bit more in the microwave. 3 tablespoons of sugar. And then 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. And mix it up in the bowl here. And I'm going to put those strawberries in there. So actually, let me go grab those. Woo! That bowl is cold. Okay, so here we have some frozen strawberries that are now frozen into a brick. Okay, so let me get a knife to like unbrick my strawberries. Unbrick you. Unbrick yourself. Okay, I'm gonna put them a little bit in the microwave just to simmer down, not to totally unfreeze them, but just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna take that softened butter and we're gonna put that across the top, and then we put our strawberries over there by hand. Oh, by the way, we're gonna leave about a 1/4 inch margin without butter, and you'll see why. Come on, unfreeze. Wow, who knew our freezer works so good? In the meantime, maybe I'll throw this in and get it a little bit softened. Let's do that. Strawberries and butter together at last in the microwave. So yeah, I think maybe some of the technical difficulties I was having is because my YouTube channel, I switched it over to a different Gmail account because I was using Tarot at kittensweightsandtarot.com, which is the email that many of you guys have emailed me at before. But as you know, I'm no longer Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. So that account is going to be deleted at some point, and that would mean my YouTube channel would get deleted. So I had to switch it over to my other Gmail account. And so I think that like caused some problems with StreamYard and stuff. But, you know, we'll get it all figured out hopefully by next Sunday. All right, so the strawberries are a go. And it looks like our butter is also a go. Okay, so let's get that handy dandy dealy bob here. And I'm just going to brush this to the end, but I'm going to leave a quarter of an inch space at this end. All right. Nice and buttery. Buttery goodness. Just making sure I get every little inch except for this side, which I have left an opening on. Okay. That's that's super buttery. Okay, now I'm going to take my strawberries here and I'm going to put them in that cornstarch sugar mixture. And you can just take your hand, as long as your hands are clean, and just get these all mixed in here. It starts to, especially the cornstarch, starts to get all the juices in the strawberries, making it real juicy, especially when it gets all cooked up. Okay, so now we're going to take this mixture and we're just going to spread it with our hand. I'm going to try to leave one hand clean so that I can like do things like work the cell phone and whatnot. Okay, so just spreading them out so it's nice and even when you bite into each of these cinnamon rolls. Okay. All right, let's bring them to the edge here. Okay, that's good. All right, I'm going to wash off my hand right quick. Okay. So then we're going to roll this into a tight seal. We're going to cut off the ends, and then we're going to just like chop these up. So, okay. Okay, I'll get to washing those in just a moment. Don't have time right now. The roll is calling me. Okay, so now let's quickly try to just roll this up as tightly as possible without, you know. Okay. This end here, try to use your fingers to like pinch it down and get it reconnected to the rest of the dough. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it like that. All right, so now I'm gonna take my floss. Yes, we're flossing sweet rolls, y'all. Put that in the sink. Okay, maybe for the ends I'll use a knife. This works. Excuse me, floss. Okay. If you want, you can do something delicious with like the ends here. That's up to you guys. All right. So maybe I'll use this to like mark. Okay. 2, 3, 4. I've never flossed a roll before. I've I've flossed other weird baking things. This is cool. So 2, 4, 6. Okay. Maybe I kind of wanted 8. You know what? Maybe that's fine. Maybe we'll have a couple of skinny rolls. Let's do that. Let's make a couple that are skinny. That's fine. I'm sure some people in this household won't want like a massively huge roll. Okay, what we're gonna do now, because this is getting real liquidy, is I'm gonna take this giant baking dish that has parchment paper in it, and I'm going to stick the rolls in it. And it's okay if it gets all juicy on the bottom, all that just like cooks in anyway. It gets real delicious. Okay, so you're gonna have rolls that look just like that. Ta-da! Okay. And this roll. We're going to have some mega cleanup duty, but that's okay because these are going to be freaking delicious. Okay. There's one. Here's another one. And the last one. Again, I'm going to wash my hands and we're going to clean up this area. Okay, I'm just doing a quick clean at the sink. And then we're going to let those cinnamon rolls actually rise one more time. So we'll do the rest of our live chat and then we're going to come back to them and they will spend not much time at all actually cooking up in the oven. And then we'll have ourselves some sweet rolls. Okay. Alrighty. Getting everything all clean. Cleany. Okay, move that out to the side. Clean this guy. Trust me, the mess is well worth it. Okay, I'm gonna throw my little floss away. We don't need that floss anymore. Let's see. Costalini says, how's that for synchronicity? And Lilith says, a moment of pride for me too. The first sale. Yes. Unbrick my strawberries. Say you'll unbrick me again. Venusian Rose says, this was a hard choice to pick all the topics. Were so fun. And Lilith says, Riley is lucky. He'll get to eat the results. Oh, he's been waiting all day, actually. This is floss works best for the bottom. True, but yeah. Sirens is back and stuffed. Ooh, what'd you have for dinner? She said ham, mashed potatoes, rolls, and cake. Ooh, nice. Time Harvest says, will you be doing an eating review on that? Well, I would love to. Why don't you twist my arm? Lilith's like, teleport me some over here so we can have a taste test too. Dude, I'm working on my teleporting skills. I'm not quite there yet. All right. Okay. So you have some rolls that kind of look like this. They're going to blow up and get squishy. So I left them like a little bit of room. There we go. So just kind of spacing them out. All right. So once all that's done, let's see. We're going to cover this in plastic wrap and put a towel over it, and we're going to let it rise for about an hour. So let me get some more plastic wrap. And just give it another rise.
An hour?
Yes, honey. Riley is protesting that he has to wait an hour. Okay, so I'm just putting some plastic wrap over this right now. I'm going to go get my little towel. Oh, there's my towel. I'm like, where'd the deuce? I'm like, where'd my towel go? Okay. All right. I'm putting this back in the warm area of the house because right now it's a little cold in the kitchen. And I want these to rise quickly. So I'm going to give them about an hour. The time is 2:45 Arizona Mountain Standard Time right now. 2:45 Arizona. Okay. Let's put this here. All right. Okay. Let's. All right. So 3:45. You guys remind me. I know you're going to want to see the goodies. and we'll get those babies in the oven. How about it? But you know, the more rice you give them, the more fluffy they get. Okay, I'm gonna move this bread flour out of the way. I'm gonna start putting a few of these things away that I know we don't need at the momento. Okay, like move our floss. Don't need it. Okay. And let's get some paper towels and start that cleanup process. Yes, sir. Okay. Move this over here. Oops, some of that bread flour must have exploded over here. That's okay. All right. Cleaning up our messes. All right, I'm gonna take that to the trash can very quick. Okay. A little bit more. Wow, how did I get it on the wall over here? That's crazy. All right. So satisfying when things get cleaned. Okay. And then we have a cleanish broom and a cleanish dustpan. And that's how, don't worry, these are kind of cleanish. I just then get the flour into the dustpan. Don't mind me while I sweep my countertop. And then I'm gonna disinfect it, so don't worry, it won't be all gross. Okay, that gets the majority of the flour off. And Vader's been here looking like he's gonna get some sweet rolls. Sorry, bro, that's not like dog friendly. It's not good for you. Okay. And we'll make the frosting, I guess, while we're waiting, because they're only going to be in the oven for like 20 some minutes. And I kind of just want the frosting to be ready to go. Almost good as new, so that we can make lots more messes. Okay, perfecto. All right, so I'm gonna move my sugar over because I think we still need it. I don't think we need the cornstarch though, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that away. Okay, I have my accoutrements. Those are here for the later times when we are going to make our frosting in just a moment. Powdered sugar you are going to need. Some freeze-dried strawberries, finely crushed. I got them as finely crushed as I could. That's not super fine, but it's good enough for me. And that's going to be about a half a cup of those. You're going to need some vanilla extract. And you're going to need 4 tablespoons of salted softened butter, which has been sitting at room temperature for quite a while. Okay, let me just move you guys over so that you'll have like a better view of everything. All right, and that looks good. See? Now it's like we never destroyed the kitchen in the first place. What destruction? I don't know what you speak of, my friend. Okay, let me throw this away. Okay, let's go ahead and get to that. So remember, you could do something with those ends. I don't know. You could put it on a baking sheet and just make extra goodie. I don't know. Get creative. That's up to you. I'll figure out something to do with it. Okay. So now, okay, so that's sitting. So yeah, about 23 to 28 minutes at 350 is what those rolls are going to bake at in your oven. Always keep an eye on them because some people have convection ovens. We have a convection oven, so things cook more evenly. They also cook faster, so we have to keep an eye on it. So if something says 30 minutes, for us, it might be like 15, 20 minutes. So, you know, just keep an eye on it. You want it slightly browned on the edges, but, and if you have a thermometer, you want the middle of them to read about 185 to 190 degrees. You don't want them to overbake because then you get really hard rolls. And we don't want to spend all this time waiting for this dough to rise to be nice and fluffy, only to have hardened rolls come out of your oven. That would really suck. So let's not do that. Okay, so to make the frosting, let's do that. We are going to use, you know what, I think I'm going to use my KitchenAid. I don't feel like doing this by hand. Okay. All right, so we are going to need the whisk attachment. Ta-da! And we are going to combine butter, cream cheese, and we're going to beat that on high for 1 to 2 minutes until fluffy. And then next we're going to add the freeze-dried strawberry powder, powdered sugar, vanilla, beat it on low, and then slowly increase it to medium-high speed until it is smooth and fluffy, about 1 to 2 minutes. And then we're going to add that milk. So let me go get the cow's milk again. We're going to do that about a tablespoon at a time. Basically put 1 or 2 tablespoons. It helps to make it a little bit more creamy if you really want some creamy frosting. And you could do that end part by hand where you're actually adding the milk, which I just tend to take the attachment off and I just finish it up by hand. So you guys can do that too. All right, so let's do that. So let's go ahead and look at, hold on, our ingredients. Okay, cream cheese frosting. Let me get that. I looked for strawberry cream cheese frosting, which would have been delicious, but I could not find any. The buttholes at the store must have sold out of my strawberry cream cheese. No, that's fine. I take that back. I call them not buttholes. Okay, but you're going to need about 6 ounces of this. This is an 8-ounce bar. You only need 6 ounces though. Okay, then you need a 1/2 cup of freeze-dried strawberries. What I did was, before I chopped them up, they were a 1/2 cup. But now that they're kind of chopped up, they're less than a 1/2 cup. That's fine. Okay. Then you are going to need 4 tablespoons of softened butter. Cha-ching. Let's see. Then you are going to need 1 1/4 cups of powdered sugar. Bam. 1/2 teaspoon vanilla extract. Double bam. I got my cow's milk here. Ching, 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 ching. 1 to 2 tablespoons of that. There's my tablespooner. All right. So there we go. I think we are ready to make that. You could also have some cream cheese frosting. Let me see if we have any cream cheese frosting in our pantry. I know we had some frosting here at some point. Ooh, we have buttercream. I don't think we want buttercream. Wow. All the rest of what happened to the rest of our frostings? All right. Well, that's fine. Probably don't need the extra diabetes. That's cool. All right. Everything is made with full fat, by the way. So if people are on a keto diet, this is for you. Maybe not with all the sugar, like people no sugar, no grains, but okay. So I have my bowl. It's not super clean. It just had the dough in there, so whatever. It's fine. Okay. So let's see how much we put in here. I had to write everything out because it's kind of an involved process. So I wanted to make sure I can read my own notes that I put for myself. Okay, so the butter and the cream cheese are going in first. Okay. Okay, butter and cream cheese. All right, you go in there. That can get softened a little more, actually. Man, it's been sitting at room temperature. Butter these days. Food just doesn't act the way it used to when we were kids. Milk tastes different. That's why I have cow's milk now. Butter is different, sugar is different. Everything's all kind of out of whack. Okay, that's soft enough. That'll do. Ooh, I need my spatula. Okay. Let's see. Who's talking about Geico? What the? You guys are so silly. Sorry, I missed out on a whole conversation. I like when you jump in the middle, and you're like, oh. Time Harvest says, who doesn't want $2.5 million? Siren says, calling on Google Meet though, that's a clear scam. And Time Harvest says, I don't know, maybe it's their way of contacting us, the ones they choose. Mind Over Number says, everything in moderation. Exactly. Costolini says, I would have asked them for their social security number. Siren says, no, you have to sign up to enter the sweepstakes. I didn't sign up. Time Harvest says, even people are different. We're all very different. Okay. In you go, my buttery friend. Okay. Just let the water sit in that for a momento. I'll get back to you. All right, we want 6 ounces of this. I just so happen to have a food scale. Normally, I'm not so precise. Oh, you know what? Screw this food scale. Check it out. They got a numbering system on here for dodo brains like myself. Okay, let me get a knife. And let's cut off our 6 inches. Insert Lorena Bobbitt joke. All right. All right, so that's going to be about 6 right there. Okay, 6 ounces. Sweet. It quite literally will be sweet. Okay, so we have this cream cheese left over. You know, if somebody wants a bagel or... Ooh, that reminds me. We have some milk, some cow's milk that is past its drinking ability, but I'm going to be turning that into some cheese. But then I'm thinking maybe I should just make cream cheese. And I can go with this cream cheese. Okay. That's goodly. All right, so now we're going to take the whisk attachment and we're going to fluff this up like a boss. Now you see what I'm doing. All right, whisk attachment engaged. Fluffing progress or fluffing in progress. Oh, I should probably plug it in. Disregard that. Okay, let's try that again. Since it has a hard time reaching the very bottom, sometimes I lift my mixer up just a little bit. Ooh, it's already getting floofy. Okay, I'm gonna push down the sides a little bit so it can get totally mixed up. Cream cheese. I'm just letting it go for like a minute or two. Okay, yeah, that looks good. All right, let me show you what that looks like. So it looks nice and fluffy. See how it's like sticking to the beater? So that's good. Okay, now, okay, put that whisk attachment back on. All right, so now I'm gonna add in my freeze-dried strawberries. Siren says, are you really gonna say that with Riley there? You're scaring him. Costolini says, and starts talking about turning milk into cheese. Lilith's like, it's like she's psychic or something. Time Harvest is turning milk into cheese is easy. I challenge y'all to turn cheese into milk. Dude, 20 minutes, you got like mozzarella cheese. It's super easy. I mean, when you have raw milk. Lilith says, churning butter is a mason jar. It takes approximately 15 minutes, not even. Costolini says, I kind of think that's what her dating life was like for a few years. Siren says, things got super awkward real quick. Awkward starfish. Costolini says, where he just walks around reading women's minds after being struck by lightning. Mind over number says, I ain't got time for that. These Betty Crocker muffins have 2 ingredients, the package and water, milk optional. Hey man, they're gonna be good. And if I were gonna charge money, I probably would charge a lot. All right, I need 1 1.25 cups of powdered sugar. So let's do that. Whoa. That powdered sugar got wily. There's 1/4 cup. Little more than 1/4 cup, that's fine. We're fine. Okay. I'm gonna put these away. I guess we didn't need the granulated sugar, that's fine. Okay. And then our 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Next. Okay. By the way, P.S. If you didn't notice, these cinnamon rolls are if you've got some time in your day. Now we're just giving it a good old mixing. Okay, I'm gonna push down the sides again because sometimes stuff gets thrown to the sides, like some of this powdered sugar, and we want all of that mixed into our frosting. Oh my goodness, that's gonna be so delicious. Okay. I'm trying to get the bottom, so it's a little out of whack because I'm lifting up the bowl. Cool. My gosh, it's looking so pretty. All right, we're gonna put a tablespoon of cow's milk in here. Let's see how that do. And just slowly increasing the speed. A little bit more speed. Yeah, baby. You got a Hemi in there. Mix it. Do it, Dusimo. You know, this KitchenAid mixer is probably like 10 or 15 years old. And I bake a lot. And she is a workhorse. Yeah, do it. Get it. Okay, I'm going to add one more tablespoon of milk. Okay, let's put this milk back in the refrigerador. All right, let's keep it going. Don't let the party stop. Don't stop dancing. No para, sigue, sigue. Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm going to scrape down the sides again. That's pretty good. That's a pretty creamy frosting there. Cool beans. I might have to lick this. Oh my God. Oh, oh, that is so freaking good. I wish you guys could taste it. It tastes like strawberry cream cheese, but like extra strawberry-y. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's give it one more blast, and then I think it's pretty good to go. Oh my gosh, fluffy and creamy. I was gonna insert bad taste joke, don't mind me, unless you can read my brain, in which I think that was hilarious. Okay, powering down. Powering down warp drive. Warp 2. Warp 1. All stop. Okay. Let me show you guys what this looks like. It's got a slightly pink look to it, just slightly. But you could see like the strawberry chunks in there. I'm actually, hold on. Oh my gosh. Could we just have a moment? Good job, Tara. Oh, excellent. Thank you. You're so kind. You're welcome. Anyway, I'm going to put this in the refrigerator just to chillax until it's time to coat these on the finished rolls, because you want to put this on when they come out of the oven, and then they'll get all like gooey and stuff like that. So, ooh, I wonder if Riley wants this. Let's go find out.
Exactly that.
You want some?
Link in the description. Back to the laws. Next one is personal.
That's the frosting. Okay, and we're back. He's going to go clean that whisk for me. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator. Nice, we got some room right there. Okay, I'm going to unplug this baby. Let's wipe you off. All right, so now, gosh, now we just wait for the second rise to finish, which I think we have about 30 minutes left on that second rise for the rolls. Then we're going to throw them in the oven for probably like 20, 23 minutes, somewhere around there, because we have a convection oven at 350 degrees, or at least until they're slightly browned, not totally brown, because you don't want to burn them. And then we're going to put that frosting on top and and then enjoy. Okay, so just going to give a little cleanse to the counter here and to my candy apple. Okay. All right, Candy, back you go. Okay, making sure the workspace is clean. Put these dealy bobs here. No longer need floss. Okay, that goes there. I'm going to put my accoutrements away. And let's go check out the Herbal Ally for this week while we wait for our deliciousness. And actually, in 15 minutes, could somebody be so kind as to remind me to turn the oven on? Because I want to make sure the oven is on and starting to warm up by the time the rolls are ready. Then I can just throw them right away in the oven and you don't have to wait for any sort of downtime, you know? Okay, so 15 minutes. Somebody, please be tasked with that. All right. Yay. So that was super fun. I take my apron off now. Okay, let's see. Lila says, oh yeah, it's real milk, as she said before. And Time Harvest says, raw milk is extremely creamy, almost like milk cream. Oh yeah. And Siren said, strawberry is my favorite, and lemon. Ooh, me too. Lemons and strawberry. I could literally eat some lemons. And they're like, dude, it's bad for your enamel. Well, that's okay, because we can regrow that enamel. Let's see. Time Harvest says, that sounds a bit odd. I'm going to stop. Lilith like reminds me of something. Siren says, one birthday, I thought it'd be fun to have a strawberry lemon cake, but the result was way too overpowering. Maybe as a tea, that could be really good. Ooh, speaking of tea, I made a tea, but it's a cold brew. So I'll show you guys that in just a moment, and maybe you could try it at home. Time Harvest says, hey Lilith, are you a good channeler too? She said, I'm just a little psychic, not as good as Tara. Aw. Siren's like, I'll do that. And Time Harvest says, but are you able to channel? Mind Over Number says, well, I just put my muffins in the oven and they'll be done in 15 minutes. Oh, lucky. Lilith's like, what made you think of that? And he says, your energy, I think you sound very wise and psychic, I guess. And Lilith says, I know a lot about it, but I don't do it myself. Ah, okay. Well, I'm going to put my apron away, and we're going to head over to the refrigerator here because I'm going to show you my cold brew, which is not really ready for consumption. Not for, oh, hold on. I got to get my rings out of here. Not for maybe, not till like 7 o'clock. Hold on. I got one more ring somewhere in my apron. There it is. Okay. Up you go. Okay. So since I bought a bunch of strawberries, I had strawberries left over from this recipe. So I was like, dude, I'm going to make a cold brew because it has been nice and warm outside. Although today is like kind of cold, warm, because we keep getting clouds. But what I did was I took maybe 4 strawberries and I just cut them in half. And this mason jar is about 7 cups, but I put 6 cups worth of well water in here. We have very nice well here. I also have my well up in my property, so you get all the minerals and yumminess. Anyway, so about 4 or so strawberries all cut up. I put in 2 tablespoons of Japanese white tea, and then I put in 2 tablespoons. Yeah, I think I said tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of white tea, and then 4 teaspoons of hibiscus, because it's going to get a bit of nice, lovely reddish color. Plus, there's like a tanginess to hibiscus, but that tanginess is subdued when it's a cold brew. Usually it's the boiling water that brings out those tannins that you might find in hibiscus, which gives it that, kind of sour or dry taste to it. But you get more of the floral taste with only a hint of the sour in a cold brew, which is why I'm doing cold brew hibiscus. So only a few ingredients. So hibiscus, white tea, and strawberries, and some water, of course. And you want that to sit in your refrigerator for about 6 hours, or if you're going to make it the day before, just let it sit overnight. And then you just strain it out. And I don't know, you could put a little sugar on your rim if you want to make it sugary. I don't really do that. I like it fresh. But anyway, looks just like that. It's just going to steep for a little while longer till about 7 o'clock tonight. And then maybe we'll have some with dinner. So anyway, that's our tea. Okay. And now we are going to head over. Oh, Hi, there you guys are. We're going to head over and learn about our Herbal Ally for the week. And then I'll let you know about the new things we're doing with the Savage Wild for super chats and super stickers, what's taking place of the readings. But I think you're going to like it. It's like a Q&A section, an interesting Q&A section. So I'll tell you guys all about it. But first, I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you to my mighty, mighty moderators. They wield the wrench of destiny next to their name. Thank you to everybody who's stuck with me on this journey. And thank you to my YouTube members. You'll know who they are because they have a colored wolf head by their name. And that is Costalini, Cinnamon Girl, Nancy from Macron's Intuition, Jonathan Cleese.
You missed a ton of chat and content.
Oh, okay. And Patreon people, thank you so much. Linda and Joel, Aaron, Casey Gritter, Oz, Palu, Brandy, Brian, Lily, Crystal, Easy Does It, Dana, and Ashley. Love you guys. And of course, Lila Phoenix, who helped with all of the technological stuff, all of the graphics and everything for the Savage Wild. So thank you. Okay, let's take a look at this. I know I missed a ton of chat. I'll probably have to look at some of it in the replay. Time Harvest says, would love to ask for advice. That's what we're going to do with the Q&A. I think you guys are going to like it. Let's see. Lila says, I'll take the compliment about channeling. Siren says, I love your dressed hair. Very nice. Well, thank you. I was feeling rather springy. Time Harvest says, you're welcome. Do you have an Insta, Lilith? And she said, I don't do social media, but my email is on my page, or ask Tara later. Mind Over Number says, I'm about to delete my IG myself. I get more from Reddit than I do from Instagram. Yes, I agree. And Lilith says, do the strawberry flavor steep into that? Seems everything else would overpower the flavor. Actually, it does get super strawberry, which is why I hold them and I cut them in half to kind of release their juices. And the hibiscus actually helps with that too. So it does get rather strawberry. White tea in itself is a lighter flavor. And it's very, very florally itself, especially when you do a cold brew as opposed to boiling it. And if you do boil it, it's a very short steep time because white tea is so delicate. But yeah, it has a very delicate, flavor to it. The hibiscus, you're definitely going to taste that. That might be like the top note, followed by strawberry. That's what you would taste. And then kind of the undercurrent of it all would be the white tea. That's kind of like the base note if we were sommeliers, Yeah, so Lilith was saying I missed a ton of context. And Time Harvest says, now IG just stops its encrypted private chat. So yeah, it might be a good idea to let it go. Siren says, because of me getting scammed, I had to replace everything. Google, YouTube, Instagram, everything. Ugh, I'm sorry to hear that. Mind Over Number said, Thread is cool though. That's why I still have it. My sister actually is on Threads. She keeps changing her name, but if you guys find her on the Instagram, she's Fleshly Carved. That's my sister. Let's see. Lilith says, a labor of love it was. And Time Harvest says, emails are also toasted. Nothing is safe nowadays. This is true. And Costalini says, Threads is the most horrible thing I have ever seen. Yeah, he said it's like Twitter on steroids. It is. I don't know. Whatever happened to MySpace? That's where my social media-isness is like MySpace. But and I only got on Facebook because my family, which is like all over the country, is on Facebook. And so it was mainly to keep in touch with them. I'm not really ever on Facebook unless they message me from Facebook Messenger, and then I'm talking to just my family members. Everything I post on Instagram automatically posts to Facebook, so it looks like I'm on Facebook, but I'm not really. But yeah, I don't really do any other social media. Twitter was just too extra for me. I don't know. And then my students, they used to be in all these different social medias. I was like, I guess I'll just stick with Instagram, whatever. Time Harvest said, MSN chat is a relic. Yes, but I remember it. Lilith is like, so am I. And Time Harvest is like, I like relics. Well, thank you. I too am a relic. Okay. All right. Let's head over to the living room. I'm taking y'all with me. Let's go. Oh, are you coming too, Vader? All right. Okay. And here we go. We have landed. All right, I'm gonna plug that in. Excellent, excellent. All right, let's do this with you guys. Excuse me while I move the tripod for uno momento. Okay. Hey, there we go. I have my blankie in case it gets cold. Lilith is like, rawr. Time Harvest is like, meow. Lilith is Vader, the Space Invader. Yes, he is. Did you guys get to see Vader? There he is. My Space Invader. Well, actually, my friend's Space Invader, but he's my buddy. Sorry, I started feeling like a relic when they remade Blue's Clues. I was almost 4 when it started. Oh my goodness. I remember my brother was like, my little brother got into Blue's Clues, but I was a lot older by then. Time Harvest said, Cat Vader. My Never says, I've never had Twitter, just slowly building my YouTube. But now I find topic ideas on threads. It gives me insight as to what people are looking for when it comes to numerology. Time Harvest says, the dog is just chilling. He is. Vader, are you just chilling? Okay, cool. All right, well. All right then. Okay, so let me take off my slippies here. Okay, let's get into our herb for this week. And the herb that I was really feeling for this week is eyebright. I actually have it in powdered form. I'll open it up so you guys can get a good look at eyebright. It's very fine powder, although you don't have to get it as a fine powder. Called eyebright because actually it does help with a lot of eye issues, and they still use it to treat horses with eye issues. So we're going to dive into that. But first, let's go ahead and light a candle. Alrighty. And I'm getting my incense going. I have some rose incense for today. Okay. That'll do. Okie dokie. Let's see. Lilith says, whistles to Vader. Time Harvest says, bark to Vader. Let's see his honest reaction on that. Lilith says, snorts. Eyebright. Whoa, everything is much clearer now. Time Harvest says, instructions not clear. Oh my goodness. Vader tries to talk like a people. In the morning when we wake up, he's like, rah, 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 rah. Like he has a whole conversation. He's like, rah, 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 rah. And I'm like, and then what happened? And then he's like, you're patronizing me. Like, stop it. Okay. So let's take a look at some of my books here that have information on eyebright. So the first I'm going to look at is Rodale's Illustrated Encyclopedia of Herbs. Let's learn a little bit about it. Ooh, is it 15 minutes already? Ooh, it's time for me to turn on the oven. Okay, let's do that. But I'm at the eye bright section, so I'll read this to you guys. And I'll tell you why I'm feeling eye bright for this week, like the energy for this upcoming week. But okay, let me turn on the oven. 350 degrees, just so everybody knows. Okay. 'Twas easy. Okay. And I'm back. Let's see. Lilith saying that's funny. Time Harvest said, bro's a man. Mind over number said, ooh, my muffins are done. Turn your oven on. All right, it's on. We're at 350. Well, we're not at 350. It's at 100 degrees right now, but it'll warm up. Lilith says the dog is a bro for sure. And Siren said, oh yes, oven time. Lilith says, oven time, let's go. And Siren said, sorry, I got caught up in the conversation. No worries. Thank you guys for helping me stay on track. Okay, eye bright. I'm like, why am I crooked? Okay. Herbalists suspect that the ancients knew of eye bright's healing powers because of the name Euphrasia is of Greek origin, derived from Euphrosyne, meaning gladness, the name of one of the three graces who was characterized for her mirth and joy. It is believed that the plant acquired this name because of its reputation for curing eye ailments. It brought much gladness by preserving the eyesight of the sufferer. History. In addition to its widespread use as an eye medication, eye bright has been used as a tea and memory tonic, and in Queen Elizabeth's time as an ale. In Paradise Lost, the poet Milton relates that the Archangel Michael used eye bright to cure Adam of the eye afflictions suffered by his eating of the forbidden fruit. Uses. Medicinally, although most herbs tout the use of eye bright as an eye medication, modern scientists' studies have yet to establish the effectiveness of the herb. Yes. What's more, there may be a danger in applying a homemade, unsterilized preparation for the eye. That is something to take into consideration. I mean, if I had, I don't know, a bunch of gunk on my hands and I'm trying to put like stuff into my eyeball, and it's a very unsanitary condition. So like maybe if I left my jar of eye bright open and there's stuff getting in there like dust and dog hair and whatnot, and now I'm putting it in my eye, yes, that could cause some complications. So make sure when you're making any sort of ointment or something for yourself that you try to keep it as sterile, as clean as possible, so that you don't have any extra variables going into your concoction. Okay, the dried herb was once smoked to relieve chronic bronchial colds. I also know that mullein, or some people call it mullein or mullein, also really good for clearing up bronchitis and also as an expectorant to get stuff out. So kind of a, I guess, opposite of what people might think when they're like, well, if I have, issues with my lungs, I wouldn't smoke anything. But there are some herbs that actually are beneficial for that. And many of our native ancestors knew that too. All right, cultivation. As a semi-parasite, eye bright takes part of its nourishment from the roots of other plants, particularly grass. Because the leaves of totally parasitic plants are devoid of any green color, eye bright is deceptive. Its bright green leaves give it the appearance of a normal, self-sufficient plant. But below the ground, tiny root suckers spread out, lie on the rootlets of grasses and absorb nourishment. There is no permanent damage to the grass, however, because both plants are annual. They renew themselves each year. Eye bright is a difficult plant to transplant and prefers its natural habitat, grassy, dry earth. It has the unusual distinction of taking on different appearances in various environments. In the mountains or near the sea, the plant will grow only an inch or so high, with the stem scarcely branched. But in rich, chalky soil, eye bright grows to 8 or 9 inches and looks like a small shrub. All parts of the plant except the root have been used to gather eye bright fresh,
Cut the plant just above the root when it is in full flower and the foliage is in good condition. For drying, do the same. Then hang it upside down in a cool, dark place where there is plenty of air circulation. I actually want to take you guys upstairs to take a look at my seedlings because it'll be interesting to see how they grow here. When I did my test garden, I did it up at my property, and even though technically that's what, as the crow flies, like 10 or 11 miles away, something like that, it takes like 40 minutes to get there just because the roads are rural and whatnot. And it's at a slightly lower elevation than I am here. Which means there's less of like the pine trees, there's more of the junipers, and the soil is a bit different. I believe it's very alkaline over there. And so the corn grew a little short as well as other things, but we'll see how they grow here. But I did the raised beds and everything. They're ready to go when my babies are ready and strong and ready for transplant in May. Okay, so that's what Rawdale had to say about eyebright. But let's also take a look at what Andrew Chevalier has to say about eyebright. Okay, habitat and cultivation. Common in Europe, eyebright thrives in meadows and open grassland. It's gathered in summer when in flower. Constituents. Eyebright contains iridoid glycosides, including acubin, flavonoids, tannins, lignans, and phenolic acids. Acubin has antibacterial and anti-inflammatory and antispasmodic activity. History and folklore. Eyebright's use for eye problems was due in part to the doctrine of signatures, an ancient belief that the way that a plant looks, its sign, indicates the ailments for which it should be used as a medicine. Eyebright relieves inflammation and tightens mucous membranes and finds specific use in the treatment of conjunctivitis and blepharitis. Its ability to counter mucus means that it is often used for infectious and allergic conditions affecting the eyes, middle ears, sinuses, and nasal passages. Eyebright counters liquid mucus, but it should be used guardedly for dry and stuffy congestion, which tends to be made worse by the plant's astringency. So definitely look into it. But something to keep in mind are all these different attributes for eyebright and what that could mean for this upcoming week. Let's see. Mind Over Never says maybe you could give your dog some of those pet buttons. Lila says that'd be funny. Mind Over Never says, I swear those pets are talking about past lives, but their owner doesn't pick up on it. And Lila says, so I got some manna, but I've used it as an incense. It's like, it smells like one, like one made caramel at home. Ooh, that sounds good. Lila says, yes, seedlings. And Costumini says, these sound like made up words. It sounds like they threw the alphabet at Latin and Latin shouted out. That's what it was. So Time Harvest, yay, thank you. You'll be the first for our super chat, super stickers. Siren says, aren't all words made up? Oh, well, I guess technically. Time Harvest says, is the oven ready yet? It has not beeped yet, so it is not ready. Okay, one more thing. I'm using the Modern Herbal Dispensary. Just if you wanted to make a concoction with eyebright, this is a really good book talking about the concoctions that you could make with various herbs. Okay, so eyebright. Okay. Eyebright is commonly used to treat eye infections and strengthens the eyes. Although it is commonly taken internally for these conditions, it works best when used as an eye wash. The best use of eyebright is an internal remedy for upper respiratory congestion with acute irritation of the sinuses and eyes with thin, watery mucus and itching eyes and ears, such as rhinitis or the early stages of a cold. A tincture made from the fresh plant will open the escutation. That's a word. I know this word, but I have trouble saying Eustachian tubes. in children, allowing the inner ear to drain and thus preventing earaches. The dried leaf is almost entirely ineffective for allergies and eustachian tube issues. Okay, dosage forms. So if you're doing a tincture and you're using fresh leaf, you want to use a 1-to-2 ratio with 60% alcohol. And you would take 1 to 4 milliliters, which is about a 0.8 of a teaspoon. And you want to take it 1 to 4 times daily. If you're using it topically, prepare a compress or fulmination with a standard infusion of the dried leaf and apply as needed. So you can take it internally, you can take it externally. It's up to you. I actually have made an eye bright wash for my eyes before. My eyes were just really dry. It's back when I was working at the school, and I don't know what was going through our like air conditioning system, like the evac. It was like it was so, everybody's eyes were getting irritated. And anyway, so when I got home, I like just mixed a bunch of water with a little bit of that really fine powder. That's why I got the fine powder eye bright, because I planned on putting it in my eyeballs. And I just kind of like splashed it into my eyes. And it was fine. And then, you know, I let it just kind of like sit there. I even put like, I took a rag and I soaked it in the basically tea of eye bright, just a cool water and eye bright mix, and then place that on my eyes and just let it sit for like 10, 15 minutes. And then I washed my eyes out with water, and they're pretty good. They weren't irritated after that. So whatever had gotten in there from the, you know, the cooling system, I got it out of my eyes. So I'm not saying everybody should do that, but it worked for me. it was good. Okay, so for this upcoming week, think about eye bright. Think about where we might be seeing things like crystal clear, and where we might think we see something clearly, and we just kind of like guess. It's like, how do I want to say? Like my mother used to say, because my mother has had horrible eyesight her whole life. And when she doesn't have her contacts in and her glasses, all she sees is blobs of color. She doesn't even see form. Her eyes are really, really bad. And so she just kind of like guesses what is standing before her. It could be me, it could be my brother or something. And so maybe take that into account for this upcoming week. Maybe sometimes we just guess at that what we're seeing is the clear picture. You know, our ego fills things in where our spiritual eye may be closed, you know, to certain things. You might also want to look into, you know, thinking about the root system of eye bright, how it kind of like steals from, you know, other plants, but it's very deceptive. It looks like, oh, no, I have my own nutrition and I'm totally not stealing from the grass. So you might want to look at maybe ways in which we've done this to ourselves, where like we're taking away from ourselves, maybe keeping ourselves stuck in a particular belief, or maybe we're keeping ourselves stuck in a certain limitation. You know, we decide that, you know, I can't do something, and I keep reinforcing the idea of I can't, just so I, you know, feel good about my ego feels good about itself. Or maybe that there might be some people that surround you who look like that they're just, you know, I'm doing it all myself, I'm doing A-okay, but behind the scenes, they are just energy vampires, and they're sucking from their friends and family. So keep that in mind. Okay, so let's take a look here, as I have missed some of your comments. And Time Harvest, yes, we will get to you. And I'm so excited to talk about how we're going to do these super chat, super stickers. And the oven just beeped. So we're about ready to stick those rolls into the oven. Time Harvest says, not my super stick or super chat yet. That's that's too little. Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you. Costalini says, yes, they are, but like these are definitely made up. Peace and Joy said, hello from Northern Cali. What's up? Hey, my friend. Lilith says, peace and joy. What's up? Siren says, where in NorCal? Berkeley. Peace and Joy said, hey, maybe about 3 hours from there, and maybe 2 hours. Cool. And Siren said, oh, so likely close to where Davey Havoc used to live. Nice. Peace and Joy said, is she reading from an herbal book? I was, actually. A couple of books about our herb for this week, which was Eyebright. Lilith says she has an herbal ally for the week. Eyebright, she pulls up some herbal booms and reads for us, or books. Thank you, Lilith. And she said, yeah, please subscribe if you like. We do this weekly. Peace and Joy. Venusian Rose says, I have to head out. Loves to you all. Enjoy your day. Have a blessed one. Peace and Joy said, yes, thank you. Yes, I noticed I'm subscribed. I haven't been here in a long time. Like to also, well, thank you. Thank you. And Heather, you have a fabulous Easter, rest of your day. Have a kick-ass week. Everybody's saying bye. My number said, when you have glasses, I feel like you see how blind everyone else actually is. True. And Peace and Joy is going to look up the Eyebright. Excellent. All right, you guys, let's take these sweet rolls to the oven. So you guys are coming back with me into the kitchen, and then we'll come back and do our super chats and super stickers while our sweet rolls bake. Okay. Maybe I'll just put you guys on the floor here because, I mean, we're just going to be looking at the oven anyway. All right, let me go get my sweet rolls. They're in the other part of the house that's much warmer. All right, Vader, you gonna help me out? Okay, so we'll go ahead and take that off. I'm gonna take the plastic off. Do not want to bake it with this plastic on it. That would be bad. All right. So now I'm going to stick these in the oven. Rack is kind of in the middle there. Let's see. Let's set a timer for 20 minutes. We'll start with that and then see how that goes. Okay, so 20 minutes. It says roughly would take 23 to 28 minutes, but I'll start low because this oven bakes fast. So, and we could always turn on the oven light too and see how it's going. All right, let's go back and check out the Savage Wild super chats and super stickers. And I did have my hair down today. It's kind of like all messy just because I didn't want to get hair in the food. So I always put my hair up when I bake. Okie dokie. Let's see. Ooh, there we are. Lilith says, peace and joy. She just made strawberry rolls and she'll put them in the oven now. Siren said, unfortunately, I don't get paid until tomorrow, so I'm going to have to watch. Peace and Joy said, nice. And Lilith says, in the next segment of the video, we get to get a tarot card pulled. She will proceed to channel a song, a message based on a question. It's kind of, well, that's what we used to do. So I'm going to tell you what the new improved super chat, super stickers is. And Peace and Joy said, I think I might remember this channel. She used to do things outside or still does. And Lilith said she had a recent rebrand, so it's very possible. Yes. Okay, so for our super chats and super stickers, it's kind of a Q&A. So I used to do card pulls, but since we're now the Savage Wild, it's a little bit different. So for the Q&A, you could ask anything, like if you wanted an herbal remedy or something topical, something you can take for an ailment you might be having, or it might be an energetic ailment. It could be an emotional ailment. It could be spiritual ailment. And I have a ton of my books here right now. So we could look up what the meaning could be behind the ailment that you have, but also looking up what plant you could connect with, make a tea with, utilize, maybe plant in your own garden. You could also do some other type questions too, like if you had off-gridding questions or questions like, it's like, what happens if I have to change my tire, but my tire is large? Like, Riley has like 37-inch wheels on his Jeep. And you might be like, oh my gosh, how am I going to lift this thing, and put it on? What if I was like a teeny little grandma? Like, how could I do that? So if you have, questions about that, so anything maybe vehicle related, gardening related, off-gridding related, maybe how to make something naturally, like if I want to dye my clothes, but I don't want to use chemicals and I want to do it naturally, how do I do that? Or if I want to make my own detergent for my clothes and I'm tired of buying things like Tide and, things like that, like what could I use? How could I make my own detergent? So if you want to know like how-tos, like DIYs, questions just regarding any kind of sovereignty stuff, that's basically our Q&A. So anything about your physical self, your surroundings, I'll try to dive into the repertoire of my brain and see how I can help you. I also have a rather extensive library, so I'm sure we can find some books that will have the information that you guys are seeking. Let's see. Liz said, whoa, my bad. Hey, no worries. Time Harvest says, oh, I thought it started. And Mind Over Number says, I didn't know they still make those lace socks. I haven't worked with them since Easter 1999. Dude, yeah, I used to have these back in the 80s. I had lace socks, but Riley's sister found them I think it was for my birthday. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, in adult size. So I do like my lace socks. Melissa says, they're super cute. I remember them too from when I was a child. Hey, Lily is here. What's up? Mind Over Number says, I think every baby girl got a picture with them on. Okay, so Time Harvest says, one message to everybody in this chat that my higher self might wish to share. And Costalini says, I do have a bit of a long story question. Was hoping if I could type it out, you could explain what it means energetically. Starts out in the desert in Nevada, ends up in the grocery store in Texas. Okay, we can check that out. And Peace and Joy said, car tip bottle jack or even the scissor jack the car comes with, make sure to put it on the lifting points, pinch the welds of the car, certain places to lift. And Time Harvest says, damn, Costalini, that's a lot of dollars. All right, so let's see. Time Harvest, although I won't be able to channel your higher self, not that I can't, it's just I want to try to put as much of intuitive sovereignty into other people's hands, like back into your own hands instead of into someone else. So I would say it seems like you would connect really well with Eyebright. And so like the message for everybody is definitely look into the ones who it's not so obvious when other people are stealing our energy, stealing our time, stealing our emotional reserves, because sometimes people come off as really sweet. And not to say that people are malicious and they're trying, to suck our energy, suck our time, all this stuff. Although some people do, but I would say the majority of people are unaware that they do that. It's just they've gotten away with it for so long and nobody has really put up the boundaries with them and said, hey, you can't do that. So Time Harvest, I would say this is, a wonderful message, coming from your energy, but for everybody else utilizing the Eyebright that we had pulled out earlier, is that sometimes we can be it can be difficult to see those who are using us to the point where it's detrimental for us because they might seem like a really nice person. Let's give an example. I had a really good friend in high school. She was the sweetest. I mean, she wouldn't even swear. And in high school, that's rare. Like, wouldn't swear, wouldn't hurt anybody, wouldn't talk, crap behind people's backs. But she had really low self-confidence, self-worth. And so she put a lot of her worth and her confidence into her friends that surrounded her. And so although it wasn't like she was a mean person, she wasn't trying to steal our energy, that wasn't her intention, but it is what was happening because she felt she was lacking subconsciously in that area, feeling like I can't have my own opinion. I can't think up of cool things for us to do all by myself. I don't trust myself to be able to do things by myself and do them properly. So I rely on my friends to do that. So whenever we were hanging out with her and it was like, hey, what do you want to do? It was always like, I don't know. What do you want to do? And so she was always putting it onto us. And that might seem rather innocuous, like, well, like, who cares? There's a lot of people that are like, I don't, they always say, I don't know what to eat, or I don't know what to do. You figure it out. But it wasn't just that area. It was very pervasive in a lot of the things that she did. And even in school, when it came to us being in classes, it was like, she didn't have the confidence to feel like she could figure out a lot of those problems herself. And so instead of even trying to figure out the problem, it's like, so what'd you get for number 2? Oh, so what'd you get for answer number 10? Are you taking, like a Miss Castaneda's class? Okay. So what was the homework? Did you do it already? Do you mind if I copy you? So, and in a way you might be like, well, it's just high school and people are just trying to get by. Yes, but that's at an age where we're trying to identify ourselves. We're trying to figure out our lives. And so I would imagine that until, I don't know, maybe she's changed, she's grown, a lot of life has happened since high school. But I'm just trying to point out that somebody could be a really kind person, but if they feel that they're inadequate in a particular area, they might try to fill that inadequacy with the people that they love and trust around them. And the people that they love and trust around them, if we don't have boundaries, and we just are like, oh, the nice thing to do is to just do it for this person. The nice thing to do is just give the person the answer. It might seem like a really kind, a really nice thing to do, but what we're doing is cutting them off at the legs. We're reinforcing the idea that you can't do it by yourself. You're incapable of figuring it out on your own. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. We're reinforcing that, even though it's behind the guise of our own ego, wanting to be like, well, I don't want to like cause a rift. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. The ego really doesn't want to cause any drama. So it's like, I'm just going to go ahead and continue enabling this person. I'm going to just go ahead and continue enabling this person's personal beliefs and, programming, because I'm afraid to put up my own boundaries, and I'm afraid what might happen if I put up my own boundaries. So it's a learning experience for, both parties. But that's a long-winded way of saying, just to, not just this week, but moving forward, keep an eye out for those that after you hang out with them, after you talk to them on the phone, do you feel a little drained? Do you feel a little tired? There's a reason for that. Listen to your emotions, listen to your feelings. What is actually going on? Like I said, the person doesn't have to be a quote unquote bad person or mean person. They just might feel that where they feel that they are lacking, they have you to build them up, which we can help build people up, but maybe not to the point where we're, again, cutting them off at the legs. Let them stand on their own. Show them that they can do it. And the way we do that is being really good role models ourselves and having boundaries. So that's kind of mixing in with Eyebright, but also mixing in with kind of the energy that's surrounding Time Harvest right now. So very, very good. Thank you for allowing me to relay that, hopefully, in an articulate way. Okay. So Costa was talking about something that's going on energetically. So let's take a look at that. Costalini says, the other day while I was driving through the desert near Area 51, nice. I got an email from work saying my office was being moved. Tomorrow, my new office will be 2 spaces down the street from my love interest, but I didn't see the email for a few days due to the crappy internet slash business. So I order a computer online while I'm waiting in the Las Vegas airport. USPS fails to deliver. I go to pick it up the next day, and a crazy person is screaming at the workers holding up the line. I then get told, come back the next day, get stuck in traffic, get hungry, go to the grocery store to order pizza. I look to my right, and maybe 20 feet away, the girl shows up and orders cake for Easter. Holy cow, wow. We lock eyes, the worker asks me a question, and then the girl runs away. But I don't think she was running from me anymore. The next day, I go back to USPS, and the guy tells me after I left, the crazy man jumped over the counter and started threatening the employees. Holy cow. Now I get the whole putting me closer to her office is an energetic setup to bring things together. But all the other events with the crazy man and like the degree of craziness, I don't know. And the plant that resonates with all of this, and those damn agave plants that cover all of Arizona. Oh yes, our wonderful agaves in the valley. Okay, so let me put your whole story together in my head, and let's try to make sense of like what's all going on here. So we have some synchronicity lining up. Okay, so there's that, but then there's issues with people getting a little cray-cray with the energy as it has been. But also it seems like the past coming into the present, which you are not the only one. I've had several friends already tell me, even like my friends who I wouldn't consider like woo-woo. They're saying that it's a lot of like what's been happening in the past, like people they knew in the past or like love interests from the past. Everything's like coming into the now. All the things that people like, for the past maybe 6 months, a year, maybe even the past 5 years, like since 2020, or 6 years. Well, we're not too far into 2026, but it's like everything people have been trying to like work towards, and I've wanted this to happen. And a lot of people are getting to a point of surrender. And I think that I feel like just based on like your last readings and things like that, that you have gotten to a point of surrender, not full surrender, not where like, Jesus take the wheel, but I feel like you are getting to a greater point of surrender where before, everything was very much about what the ego can control. I want to be able to control my environment. I want to be able to control what I put into my body. I want to be able to control all these things. And on the outside, again, this is where I Bright comes into play. On the outside, that might seem like something really good. Of course, we want to be able to have sovereignty over what we place into our bodies. I want to have sovereignty over who I interact with. I want to have sovereignty over my life and what I do. That's the light side of things. Things go into a much more negative polarity when we take that. I want to be able to, control what I put into my body. I must have absolute control to the point where my whole mood, everything is thrown out of whack if I don't have control over my situations, if I don't have control over other people and how they react, if I don't have control over these things, because now it's the ego in a fear state and it's parading around as sovereignty. And so the ego in its fear state is saying, I'm so scared. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Like I can't see a future because the ego, it's not a soul. The soul and the ego are two different things. And so without the soul, the ego is like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, I don't know what holds in the future. I'm so scared. So I better keep things the way they are, or how I can just like control my little world, and when I can't control it, I'm gonna freak out. So I'm not saying that was you, but I'm saying that's kind of a bit of the energy of the ego, that I need to control things. But then, you being a lot more awakened than that, you're like, okay, I'm going to start opening myself up to other possibilities. Like maybe I don't have my schedule so planned out. Maybe I leave room for opportunities. Maybe I leave room for this. And so you're beginning to see more clearly now when people on the planet, maybe even animals, maybe even plants, because all is one, right? Start to resist that surrender. And that's that gentleman that you saw that was getting crazy, yelling at people, jumping across the thing, and trying to get in their face and whatnot. That's what happens when the ego totally feels like it's out of control. I can't control anything. I'm going to force people to listen to me. I'm going to jump over this turnstile. I'm going to yell at them. I'm going to jump across the counter. I'm going to yell at them because, number one, I don't have boundaries. So I don't respect anybody else's boundaries. I'm not getting what I want because at its core, the ego is very much like a 3-year-old. I'm not getting my way. I'm going to force people to so I can get my way. So you are seeing this now in this more surrender state. And now that you're in the surrender state, you're starting to see things come back around that maybe were pushed away energetically till you could understand surrender. And so now things are coming back in. Now you can start to see more clearly the people in your life, even your love interest. You can start to see them a lot more clearly. So I will say Eyebright and you are going to continue to see things more clearly. So continue to work on that surrendering to Creator, my soul, let's go. And you're going to see more magic, but at the same time, you are going to be more privy, more aware of when people are doing the exact opposite. They start to look crazy to you. They start to look insane. Whereas before it might have been like, oh, well, that's just how people are. But now you're really taking notice and you're like, oh my gosh, what is that guy doing? That is insane. So I take this as showing you, Creator showing you that you are on the right track. And at the same time, that little nudge, keep doing it. Keep surrendering, keep, allowing all this magic that life has to offer to unfold for you. So I think it's all good stuff. Let's see. The Costolini says, oh, they were driving me nuts, those plants. Oh, really? Let's see. Let's go back up here. He says, yay, thank you. You're very welcome. And Time Harvest says, the first super chat. Let's see. Although I cannot do a card pull on it, I would say, okay, Time Harvest, this is a question I have for you so that we can answer your first super chat question. Ooh, and the timer is going off for our rolls. How about that? So this is great. So now, Time Harvest, I ask you, when you ask about this person coming back, where do you feel that in your body? And that'll be a jumping off point to how I can answer the question. So just tell me, where do you feel it in your body when you think of this person? Okay. Ooh, I think this is great. So let's turn you off. Let's turn this off. Let me get some gloves here. 20 minutes was right. Oh, baby. Oh, yeah. Check it out. It's a little bit more brown than you can see in the camera, but that's good stuff. Okay, so that means we'll be able to put our frosting on. Okay, let's, I'm going to leave them here because I don't want to melt the countertop. Okay, I'm going to have to bring you guys up to the counter here. Whoa, you guys are high. All right, there's our rolls. And again, Time Harvest, don't forget, tell me where you feel it in your body when you think of this person. Maybe the worry or anxiety that you may have of this person coming back. And I'm going to use that to, first of all, figure out what that part of the body means. And then an herb, or maybe it could be an animal, that you could connect with while also connecting to Creator and just kind of sending you in the right direction. Because I keep getting from Creator, like, it's not up to me to give somebody the answer. They need to find it themselves, but I can definitely point somebody in the right direction. So I'll show you what that kind of looks like. All right, so we have our frosting here. Maybe I'll turn on the light so you guys can see. Okay. And I'm going to mix this up. Okay. All right. Let's give this a little mixy. Excellent. Okay, I'm just going to start putting the frosting onto here. And they're nice and hot. Okay, I'm going to go get a spatula so I can get the dregs out of here. That spoon tastes good. Yes. Yes. By the way, once these are cool and when you guys want to store them, you could store them wrapped individually in saran wrap. You could put them in an airtight container, but they should be good for a few days. Okay. All right, let's put some water in this so it doesn't get all crusty. Sorry, I'm just putting water in my bowl. Okay, let's start to spread this frosting around, getting in all the nooks and crannies. Oh, these are going to be gooey delicious. Okay, how's that thing doing? Excellent. I'm just trying to make sure it's all coated. Yeah, I can dig it. Okay, that looks good. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Okay, while that cools off, let me just quickly wash a few dishes, you guys, and then we'll get back to time harvest. And anybody else who's done super chats for stickers. Okay. And plus that gives my rolls like a few minutes to cool down so we don't like burn our mouths off with the temperature of lava. Because I'm sure Riley is going to want one. So fresh and so clean, clean. I heard him say, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, sorry you guys, I'm just giving everything a nice clean. So it doesn't get all crusty and then it's like harder to clean later. P.S. I feel like you have to work out a little bit to be able to lift this heavy ass glass bowl. The bowl itself, I think, weighs like 15 pounds. It's crazy. It's a lot of glass. Okay. That looks good. Okie dokie. All right, well, let's cut this up and see how we did. So I think somebody asked if we were going to be doing a taste test. I think it was Time Harvest. You guys will be able to hear the results. I hope it doesn't suck. Okay. All right, let me get a couple of forks. And I wonder if I need a... Oop, it's stuck. There we go. Ooh, yummy, yummy. Okay, let's get the next one. Oh my gosh, it's got such gooey goodness at the bottom. Oh, this is so good. Mm. Okay. I think it looks fabulous. So Riley will have to come out and come get his and put it on this counter over here. Oh my gosh, that came out so well, you guys. And I'm going to get mine and go eat it with you guys. I wonder if I need a paper towel. I should be fine. Okay, sir. Well, yours is the bigger one. It's on the counter. Riley's so weird. Let me know how it is, honey. Cheater? fake out. Okay. Let's see. Let's get back up here. You're very welcome, Costalini. Okay, so Time Harvest is feeling it in his heart. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at it then. First, let me have a bite and just make sure this came out all good and stuff. Oh, wow. Very good. It's so good. Okay, one more bite, and then I'll put it down. Good stuff. Okay, Time Harvest. Let's take a look. Okay, so he says he feels it in his heart. Siren was like, ooh, yum. And he says, I feel it in my heart. Also, I feel sad that it hasn't come back. You know who that person is. Yes. Everybody's saying it looks tasty. Lilith is like, store them in your tummy. Yeah, that's also a really good place. I second that. Lilith's like, this is the moment to teleport. Time Harvest is like, I'm a teleport. Siren is like, it's just Time Harvest and Costalini. And Lilith says that Christmas rug, it's that's just a permanent fixture now. I think we didn't have another rug to go there, so we have a Christmas rug. It's Christmas all the time. Time Harvest says the whole water ASMR. Lilith says, makes me need to tinkle. You're welcome. And she says, what you gonna do with all that glass inside your sink? I'm gonna yes. Siren says, beautiful plates. Thank you. Mind Over Number says, I feel like I can smell the pounds. And Lilith says, don't have to tell him twice. And Time Harvest said, eating is healthy. That's a beautiful house. Ah, thank you. And Mind Over Number said he heard plates and came ASAP. Yeah, he was like, Time Harvest said airplane. Yeah, faked out airplane. And Liz says, lets her know by coming back for seconds in a second. Peace and Joy said, yum. Time Harvest said, I teleported to your house. I'm outside. Open the door. Vader, go open the door. That's what Vader had to say about that. Yo. Okay. Okay. So I have this awesome book. It says The Complete Dictionary of Ailments and Diseases. But I want to take a look at the heart here for a second. Heart. Here we are. Cardiac. Time Harvest is laughing over there. No effort, Vader, bro. Lilith is like, Vader, like, who? Okay. Okay. The heart represents love, as we know, and palpitations or problems or just the general like tightness that we might feel in here when we're feeling sad or distressed are a sort of alarm signal for me. It's speaking from the point of view of the heart. So when it says I, me, it's as if the heart was speaking. It says so. Any sort of tightness, anything is a sort of alarm signal for me, a call for help involving love. My deep fear of losing or not having love I need so much is such that I feel tightness in this area. I cry for help about love. My heart beats as fast as I live in my life. I feel that I don't have control and I don't feel safe. I need to find more calm in my life. I search in all directions, but I find no answers to my questions. My heart beats for several different things at once. It may be the person that you're wishing to come back, but also things I passionately like to do, my work and hobbies. I feel like I must make some choices. I know I must let go of someone or something, but it's very difficult. I feel unable to do it, and I feel very dependent. I am experiencing a duality, I or the others. To whom do I assign priority? Who must I first take care of? The choices are hard to make. I feel divided, maybe over the meaning of life itself. I have become infatuated with people because I feel such a need to be loved, like my heart. So, a lot of different things going on there. By the way, I think this is a fantastic book. I mean, good to have like a lot of different books to cross-reference things, but I think to like get people started in a direction for their healing or things to look into. Again, this is the Complete Dictionary of Ailments and Diseases by Jacques Martel. So, fantastic book. So it's saying that it's not only the person that, yes, you were infatuated with that person, you like that person, and so we want that person to come back. And so it's definitely a bruise to our ego, when our ego all it wants is to be loved. You know, it wants our mom and dad to love us. It wants the people that we encounter to love us, and it feels so bruised and so hurt when it feels rejected. And it takes everything personally. It decides, well, if my, let's say, mom or dad, you know, is not coming back, like let's say parents got a divorce or you grew up, you know, in a single parent home, it subconsciously, the ego starts to feel like that was a slight against me somehow. It had something to do with me, because the ego is all about me. It's all about the self. It has a hard time seeing anything else as being a factor. So when this person hasn't come back into your life, the ego, thinking it's all about me, says it must have been me. I must be the reason, the 100% reason that this person isn't coming back to me. And if I don't have any control, which we were just talking about control, if I don't have control over how people view me, if people like me or even love me or not, then that's a really scary world to me. And so the ego either latches onto, you know, a different person, different things, doesn't even have to be a person, in order to kind of feel that love. Because it's feeling very disconnected. Whereas the soul is freaking part of the creator. The creator made the soul. So it knows 100% what love is all like. And so it has no need for want. It feels whole, but the ego doesn't understand that. And so let's take a look at an herb then. Let's see, what herb? I would say, first of all, you and your connection to cats that's a wonderful totem to have in your life, you know, for its medicine, because as we know, cats are very independent. And you can look at, you know, what happens when, let's say, cats are shunned. You know, when somebody doesn't want to be, you know, like, I don't like a certain cat, you know, or people talk mean to a cat, or, you know, other cats don't want to hang around that cat, you know, how do they react? What are their behaviors? So I would say, for your own research, and this is using your own intuition, which you do have. You have a beautiful intuition because you have a soul. Therefore, there is an intuition, because that is the sense of the soul. Look into cat behaviors when dismissed by others. Like one of my first cats, Presley, he was the runt of the litter. So he was rejected by his mother. He was rejected by his brothers and sisters. Yet he had this attitude about him that he was the biggest and coolest thing in the room. Hence why his name was Presley. He walked like Elvis, but he didn't quite look like an Elvis, so he was Presley. So this is something for you to kind of take a look into, you know, in terms of like feelings of rejection, or, you know, feelings of control. What is the fear? Ultimately, where is this fear coming from? She is symbolic of that ultimate fear. But yes, it is layered. So yes, you do have feelings for this person. Yes, it hurts when we don't feel like we're getting that same attention or love back. But also, we have to look at, what does this person represent? And this person represents me not being loved. I'm afraid of not being loved in return. I'm afraid that this might be a trend. I don't know how to keep love. It's like something I have to obtain, that I have to keep. So let's see, what herb could we look into? Okay, give me just a moment to go through my little mental Rolodex of herbs. Like the ultimate. Oh, I didn't even have to look that far. Okay. What book might have good information on that. Actually, let's look at the Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine. Cacao, bro, chocolate. And I know that this day, Easter, has a lot of chocolate. But I'm talking dark chocolate. Like, get as close to the cacao plant as possible. Or you know what? Bypass chocolate, go straight to cacao beans. Or if you want to just like in meditation, bring in the cacao plant. If you live in a town where some people actually grow cacao, I would say maybe sit under that tree, talk to that tree, connect with it, because cacao is the ultimate heart opener. That's why I use it in all heart opening teas. Like, cacao is the thing. I know other herbs work really well, like, motherwort and things like that. Those are all good for the heart, but cacao is the best. And somebody is going back for seconds, by the way. But cacao is like the ultimate in helping us to feel whole, to the point where if we feel that we are rejected in some way, be it from a love interest or somebody else in society, a family member, the sting is much less, because cacao shows us that you are love, you are whole. And when we feel whole in love, and I'm not saying that like I'm totally healed, perfect human being to where, I don't feel slighted and I don't feel hurt in my heart sometimes. That's not true. We all do. But cacao tries to show us, and remember, if the creator is in all things, then through cacao's eyes, the creator sees through cacao's eyes, saying that, okay, here's this plant showing us that when we are full, when we are whole, when I know that I come from love, I am love, more than just romantic love. It's like the most powerful love I've ever experienced in my whole life. It's this beautiful, all-encompassing, almost overpowering, drop you to your knees, tears coming out of your eyes type love. That when I know that and I feel that and I am that, then I am less likely to go searching outside myself for love. Love in an occupation, love in another person, love in a substance. This is not to say that we can't make connections with other people, but now we start to see other people for their beauty of their soul, not their physical beauty, but like the beauty of their soul. Because I feel whole in myself, now I'm no longer looking to this person as an aid to an emptiness that I feel, but rather I see this person as they truly are, in their wholeness, in their beautiful soul. And if we connect, fabulous. If we don't, then I wish that soul well. And so ultimately, that's where cacao would like us to be. So my suggestion for you is to work on this fear that the ego is having, and it's hiding in your heart right now. And none of this is a bad thing. This is all actually helping with your growth, your expansion, your awareness, your elevation. This is just another thing. Now, if this other person comes back around, that would be of their free will. But when you get to a place of, I am already full and I'm already whole, if this person comes back, you'd be like, that's fantastic. I mean, that's great. But if she doesn't come back, then you know what? I still feel really good about being me. And I know that that must mean that somebody else that I could work well with, that we could have a beautiful relationship with, who I could see them for their whole and beautiful self, that other person's out there waiting for me. And I can't wait for the adventure and their adventure and our paths to cross in these two adventures. So I hope that makes sense to you, my friend. But I did want to look up cacao in here for you. Whoa, I turned right to marijuana. Okay, well, that's a different type of heart opener, but I think cacao's a lot better, in my opinion. Man. There we are. 285, 286. Okay. 285, 286. Okay, there we are. Cacao. Let's take a look. Mind over numbers said Vader is the bouncer, I guess. Siren says, and I mentioned earlier, Zane is a cardiac surgeon in the game. Synchronicities, time harvest. Siren was thinking lavender. Lavender cleanses negative energy and promotes peace and love. Lilith says, I had a piece of selenite over my heart chakra all day. Lilith's also thinking passion flower. Those are also really good herbs for the heart. Time harvest is excellent. My nickname is Big Chocolate. Dude, I mean, it's kind of your plant. See, the signs have already been there. The creator has already been there being like, dude, call him Big Chocolate. And he's like, it's all been there. All the info has been there. Costalini says, Lilith replied just a tad too quickly. Siren's like, again, not talking. Oh, Lilith said, rawr. And Costalini says that chocolate emoji looks very, shall we say. This chat always takes a turn. Okay. Cacao is an evergreen tree. Did you know? The more you know. Growing to 26 feet tall. It has pale brown bark, glossy oval leaves, clusters of small yellow flowers, and large pear-shaped red-yellow seed pods. That is the cacao in there. It is native to Mexico and Central America. Cacao is now a major crop throughout the tropics. The seed pods are harvested several times a year, time harvest, and are cut directly from the trunk of the tree where they grow. One pod contains up to 50 beans with roughly 900 weighing 2.25 pounds. According to the World Cacao Foundation, world production of cacao in 2012 was more than 3.8 million tons. Holy cow. They mostly use the parts as the seeds, but of course you can meditate and connect with the energy of the whole tree. Let's see, history and folklore. The word chocolate derives from chocolatl, the name given to this tree by the Aztecs. Also the Mayans, don't forget. In 1720, Cotton Mather, an American preacher and natural historian, praised cacao, writing the plant supplies the Indian with bread, water, wine, vinegar, brandy, milk, oil, honey, sugar, needles, thread, linen, clothes, caps, spoons, besoms, baskets, paper, and nails, timber covering for their houses, masts, sails, cordage for their vessels, and medicine for the diseases, and what can be desired more. So it's not just a delicious treat. It's not just chocolate, but it has so many uses, much like us, our purpose. We don't have just one singular purpose here on this planet. We are so multifaceted. We are so layered, all the ways in which we help others and the creator working through us to interact with certain people, to do certain things. And yeah, it's just like cacao. I would say we are most closely related to cacao in all the ways that we can help others. All right. Though cacao is most often used as a food, it also has therapeutic value as the nervous system stimulant. In Central America and the Caribbean, the seeds are taken as a heart and kidney tonic. The plant may be used to treat angina and as a diuretic. Cocoa butter makes a good lip salve and is often used as a base for suppositories and pessaries. Well, I don't think you need to be taking a suppository, but I would say cocoa butter is really good for the skin as it helps to soften things, because oftentimes our ego becomes very hardened in its beliefs, and cacao soothes it. It's like, it's okay. It's okay. There's no such thing as a being made of love, coming from love, never receiving love in its life, unless with its own free will, it hardens itself to that opportunity. But cacao teaches us to soften ourselves, to remain open, that no matter what has happened in our life, we can't use that as an excuse to not help others, to not love others, just because we feel we've been slighted by someone else or some other person. So it helps us with that. And I have used cacao many a times in my meditations to help me out with those things, as well as, of course, enjoying it as a wonderful treat, because I do like dark chocolate. The darker, the better, like 90%. Heck yeah. All right. The potent mix of polyphenols and the unprocessed seed pulp has been the main focus of research into cacao. They have a productive activity on the heart, or protective, activity on the heart and blood vessels, particularly supporting the capillaries or microcirculation. Cacao consumption is linked with lower blood pressure and cholesterol levels, as well as reduced risk of coronary heart disease and stroke. It also appears to have anti-diabetic activity, stimulating the pancreas to regulate blood sugar levels more effectively. Other potential uses of cacao that have been investigated include the prevention of tooth decay, as an aid to weight loss, as a cancer preventative food within the diet, and as a treatment for chronic fatigue. So not only will it help you spiritually, help guide you in the right direction, but also just on a physical level and emotional level, like cacao is pretty bomb, man. So I would say definitely check it out. Time Harvest is funny enough. I lightened up a chocolate incense today. Well, dude, there you go. See, this goes to show that you were already tapping in. Like your intuition is already like pinging. All the signs are there. Creator's like, hey, look over here, Time Harvest. And I think that for me is just like reaffirming what I had felt from, the Creator, which was that everybody already has the answers they seek. But we're just not confident in that we saw the answers correctly, or that we're headed in the right direction. It's our ego that gets in the way, but that's also part of the journey. So don't feel bad if you're like, man, stupid ego. Well, we all have an ego. We're all born with one. But the more we can do our best, that's all we can do our best to look into the signs around us, look at our actions, what we're doing, being mindful of all of that, then we can truly hear what our soul is telling us, what the Creator is telling us. Okay, so let's see. Siren says, 2012, how old is this book? I know it's, some of these books are all from different dates and years, but when they finally get their research done and by the time a book can get published, it's quite a while. When is the published date on this book? Bueller. Oh, it's at the back of the book. 2023 is the published date. Okay, let's see. Costalini says, alcohol must harden these beliefs. Yes, I was actually just listening to something the other day about spirits. And many Native Americans believe that when they drink, they open themselves up to spirits when they drink spirits. And those attachments, the ego is more apt to listen to those attachments and be influenced by those attachments than when someone is sober. So I would say alcohol is interesting because alcohol has been used in ceremonies, like sacred ceremonies for many ancient peoples, but everything is light and shadow. So I feel like alcohol can also be used as a heart opener in moderation and with the right intention. If we just have the intention that I just want to get drunk and I'm going to have a good time because I'm going to get drunk or whatever, then we're just opened up to any old, energy out there that wants to have influence over us. But if we're, mindful and, and some people, they don't even react well with alcohol, so they wouldn't even use it in ceremony. But it's a very interesting use. It has very interesting uses. So it can be used, in its most darkest sense, or it can be used as a heart opener as well. You ever notice how some people get really emotional and they get very open-hearted when they've been drinking? And for some people, subconsciously, they choose to drink because it's the only way they feel connections with other people. And it's because they feel that's the only time they can allow the alcohol to bring their guard down so they can finally express how they feel. And so even though sometimes people say some really asinine things when they drink, oftentimes there's a lot of truth in what they say because it's finally, you know, we're in this society where we're so closed off from each other. You know, so closed off from, you know, being hurt. I don't want to be hurt. So I keep things to myself. I keep things closed off. But when I drink, I just allow the alcohol to, you know, remove my filter. And then it's like, hey, I love you, man. You know, so it can be used, I think, in moderation, also as a bit of a heart opener. But I would rather go with cacao. Lois says, snorts cacao slowly for dramatic effect. Oh, Lilith, I can actually see that happening. Siren says, I'm against alcohol personally. I've never drank or done drugs or smoked. To me, those things are poison. Yeah, and everybody is experiencing life in their own way through all kinds of different uses. So I would never condemn somebody who's like, you know, done drugs or drank. I would say that they are on a mission that's different than mine. And what they're learning and how they're learning it is helping the whole collective. Like it's almost like a sacrifice. Like they're sacrificing their own bodies to learn at a subconscious level. And in the end, we all learn from them as well, because we've all heard stories about these people, maybe straight from these people, friends and family. So I think that what they learn is also very valuable, even if you wouldn't do it yourself. Let's see. Mind over number says, drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts. Well said, my friend. Well said. Lilith says, me too, girlfriend. All right. So do we have any more super chats and super stickers? I've really enjoyed diving into your guys' questions. I think this is bringing up some interesting topics. I'm going to have some more sweet roll, by the way. That's good stuff. I know I'm having after dinner too. I'm going to have to go run with the dog this week. Run off some of this roll. All right, mind over number. Excellent. Lilith says, also don't consume alcohol. And Siren said, if I could pay, I'd ask something. Hey, no worries, my friend, no worries. And Costalina says, I kind of suspect when I've done magic mushrooms, that must be what Tara sees. Well, I have been on shrooms before, a couple of times. It's like what I see times 10. I'm like, whoa, that's awesome. Time Harvest also did mushrooms for the first time this year. Oh, how was that experience? Costalina says there's usually gnomes and aliens. I'm always talking to plants and trees and animals. So when I was on our little magical fungi, they were talking back in a language I could understand. And it was more intense. And I just loved everybody. I loved everything. Even when they said, don't look at yourself in the mirror. So of course, the first thing I do is look at myself in the mirror. And I was like, I love you. You're a really good person. It was like, all of a sudden, like all this self-love and love for everyone and everything and all the animals and the trees talking to me and the squirrels are talking to me. And that little bug on the ground's talking to me. That spider's just trying to spin a web there. Good job, man. Like I was just so full of love for everyone and everything. Like there was no like, ew, that's a creepy bug, or oh, you know, that's a weird looking plant, or that person. It was like just unconditional love. Just I love everyone, everything. Cosmo says, and plants that talk. Time Harvest says, magic mushroom just makes you feel sick, dizzy, thinkative, etc. And I haven't eaten sugar in 3 years, but the thing makes me salivate. Oh, well, sorry about that, bro. I will say that I do get queasy at the very beginning of shrooms, like a shroom trip. But then I'm fine afterwards. But I mean, technically, even though psilocybin is the psychoactive in it. It is kind of a poisonous mushroom, hence people get sick. So it's just not taking enough to like hurt yourself. Okay, sorry, just another bite. Time Harvest says, I guess the fluoride in the water blocked my pineal gland. I can't even channel my dreams. I feel like sometimes there's a lot that we don't remember consciously from our dreams, but a lot that we do retain. And even if we don't remember it, we still gained what we needed from that dream state or that astral state. So I think it's in there somewhere. Costelli says, look into the hydroxyphyte. Hydroxyphyte. I will. Thank you. Okay. Mind over number. Let me know what your question is. Could be a physical ailment, emotional, energetic ailment, or maybe you just have some sovereignty questions like about gardening or off-grid living, vehicles. Let me know while I finish up my roll here. What's that quote from Kill Bill when there was the Japanese swordsman, like he makes the finest swords, and Beatrix Kiddo goes to him because he had trained Bill, and so obviously Kiddo wants to kill Bill. So she needs his old master to teach her and to give her this sword. And so he makes this like sword, and he said he would never make swords ever again. Nothing that would, no instruments of death. But he makes this one final sword. He says, I say this with no ego. I have made it was basically the perfect weapon. So I'm like, I say this with no ego. But that was a damn good cinnamon roll. I mean, strawberry roll. I'm like, that was good. Okay. Good stuff. Time Harvest says, I think LSD, on the other hand, really does help us talk to aliens. I've never done LSD. I had a friend who did, and she said it was, it's a different experience, but yeah, there was a lot more alien activity. Costellini says, after the space missions, allegedly, NASA needed something to remineralize astronauts' teeth, so they created special toothpaste that has nanoparticles that bind to your teeth. In Japan, they use it regularly. It's not on shelves here, but it's on Amazon. Interesting. And Time Harvest says he's heard of this. Costellini says it works. Excuse me. I've been using it for a few weeks now, and it's nuts. You start to see it filling in scratches in your teeth with newer, more shiny enamel. Well, dude, you got to text that to me. Text the link. I'll look it up. Mind over number. Okay, here we go. Nothing really physical, but I did discover something for myself recently when it comes to feeling stuck. It's not so much in stuck, it's hesitation from leaving an old way of doing something. Oh, okay. Well, let's take a look into how we could alleviate some of that or get you in the direction so that you may help yourself. Time Harvest says, but honestly, just use fluoride-free toothpaste and eat calcium. You'll be fine. Costalina said, fluoride doesn't work in space. Fun fact, something about the mass. Interesting. Okay, so not feeling stuck, but hesitation of an old way. And of course, we know that that's that's stereotypical, like the stereotypical ego, are all of our egos, all the egos that we were, everybody was born with. Just, it gets so used to seeing ourselves a certain way being able to describe ourselves or what we do in a certain way. Like, let's say I could say, oh, let's go back to an old version of me. Oh, I'm Tara and I work for the blah, blah, blah school district and I work at this blah, blah, blah high school. And I live at this address. I live in Spring Valley. I have 2 vehicles. I have 2 cats. I am dating this person and I like to eat these kinds of foods. And I'm really scared of spiders and I'm allergic to this. And, so we have this whole vision of ourselves. Sometimes some of it is because of how we've grown up and it's instilled in our programming. Our parents might say, over and over, like, because they might be scared of heights, they might tell you you're scared of heights over and over when you're a little kid. And they might tell you over and over, that's scary. That's dangerous. Don't do that. Don't climb up there. You're going to get hurt. You're going to fall. You're going to break your neck, because they're afraid of falling. They're afraid of breaking their neck. They're afraid of heights. So now they've pushed their fear of heights onto their child. So now their child grows up and believes, oh, I've always been afraid of heights. I've always been scared. Since the moment I was born, I've always been afraid of heights. I'm just using that as an example, but you can see how things become a part of our identity. And the ego loves to have identity, because without identity, it has nothing to cling to and it is scared poopless. So when it comes to change, oh my gosh, the ego's like, change? No, because I know that I'm this, I like this, I don't like this, I'm really good at this, I'm not good at this. This is who I am. This is my personality. This is my label. This is my identity. So if you start going a new direction in your life, maybe a new career, something you've never done before, or maybe you're ready to release something, and although consciously you're ready to release a certain belief, the subconscious is still holding on, saying, whoa, what are you doing there? Hold your horses, my number matter, my number. Like, I don't think we're ready for this change, because who am I if I can be this? If let's go back to the, analogy of like, I'm scared of heights because my parents were scared of heights and they instilled that into me. But consciously, I don't know that. I just think that I've always been scared of heights. But now I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll try bungee jumping because some of my friends are going and I think I want to try that. And it's like, even though I'm terrified, I really want to try bungee jumping. And the ego is like, what are you talking about? Because if you go bungee jumping, that's totally going to just break my idea of who I am. I am a person who is scared of heights. And because of that, I hang out with a certain group of people. I only do certain activities. I talk about myself a certain way, all because of one belief. And that's, I'm scared of heights, And so if that changes, then my identity is shattered. Well, if that's true, then what else is not true? So I could see how this would be very difficult, and I say this from experience too. My ego is very stubborn. It likes to think, oh, this is Tara, and this is who she is, and this is what she does, this is what she likes, this is what she doesn't like. But more and more, I've been challenging myself doing the things that go against who I think I am, and then I end up showing myself something different, that I don't have to always be the same person, that we change, we grow. We don't always have to be who we were 5 minutes ago, or even 5 years ago, or 5 decades ago. So let's see, what could we look into for that? When you are feeling, let's say, anxious about or hesitation about doing something new and leaving something old behind, just like I asked Time Harvest, where do you feel it in the body? Or maybe you feel it in your emotional body. Maybe it's more of an emotion that you feel more than you feel it in the body. But let's see if we can try to locate it in your body first. So when you're about to do something new, or maybe you're already doing it, and maybe you're feeling weird about it, apprehensive, has some hesitation, where in the physical form might you be feeling that? let's see. My never says, yeah, that part. It's the in between of knowing I can't do it, do what I did before, but not fully stepping into the way of being. It's that limbo. Siren says, it's like when girls called me ugly because I didn't have my ears pierced. So I got them pierced when I was 13. But when I turned 18, I realized I didn't really want them. So I took them out for good. Yeah. And I mean, at that time, especially when we're younger, we're trying to figure out what that identity is. But when we get older, that identity solidifies. And it's so much harder to break out of because maybe for years we've been telling ourselves, this is just who I am. And that's simply not true. You know, if our soul is this freaking everything, it is the universe, then it's not confined to what this little meat suit, you know, thinks it is, you know, this ego. It can be anything it wants to be. But it takes a while for the ego to catch up. Okay, so let's see. My Nova number says, I started to get tired, so in my head. Okay, so let's take a look at the cranium then. Costalini says, boys don't even notice. Oh yeah, the pierced ears. Mind over number said, so right when I start something new, all of a sudden I get sleepy. Oh, interesting. And Costalini says, my first real girlfriend didn't have her ears pierced. Seems like a huge deal to her, and I didn't even notice. Interesting. Well, it's always, others don't ever see us the way we see ourselves. And sometimes it helps us to step outside ourselves for a moment and see us through the eyes of someone else. And it I think is wonderful for perspective. Okay, so getting sleepy in the head. Let's, I have an idea, but I want to see what this book says too, to add to that idea. Okay, insomnia. Actually, no, it's not. It's like the opposite of insomnia. Let's see what it says to say. Oh, okay. So this book just had insomnia, but I was getting something else when I was thinking about when people feel lethargic, when they want to sleep too much, more than is physically necessary. So right away I was thinking about it was somebody in my family. I'm not going to mention their name, but somebody in my family, when they would feel pressure or they felt like there's too much responsibility on their shoulders, or they felt like there's something I can't do, or I'm just not cut out to do, or they would sleep. They would just go right to bed. It was like shutting out the outside world. All of a sudden they would become drowsy. They would become sleepy. Right when it's like, okay, here, it's your turn to try something, or, you know, it's your turn to do this. It was like, no. So it's the ego's way of literally powering down. If we were a little robot, it's like hitting the kill switch. It's like, it's like, whoa, so you were thinking of trying something new today? Nope, power down. And so that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to use sleep as an avoidance tactic. That if I'm too sleepy, then I can always blame, you know, it on me being too sleepy. If I try this thing and it doesn't turn out well, which subconsciously I'm already thinking it's not going to turn out well because it's totally different than what I'm used to and what my programming is, I'm just going to power myself down. Now I'm not working at 100%. And so if the results aren't ideal, I could just say, well, I was really tired, or I get really sleepy, and that's just, you know, I just don't have the all the wherewithal, all the, energy to get this project done or to see this through or to try this bungee jumping. I get really tired because the ego is trying to escape through sleep. Sometimes very young children do that. Sometimes animals do that too. When they feel like they're powerless to something, that they can't do something, they go to sleep. And they close their eyes because it's like, maybe tomorrow I won't be asked to try this thing that's new. Maybe tomorrow I could just go back to being the old me, and this day has never happened. And so consciously you might be like, well, that's ridiculous because I do want to try these things. Of course, that's the push and that's the pull. The conscious mind, that's the one, the soul is like, you should try this, you should do this, and it's excited about it. But the ego wants to be a C block. And it's like, nope, I don't think so. Power down you go, so that you're not working at 100%, so that you can never say that you fully gave it a good try, so that you have an out, so that you always have an excuse. So let's see what herb could help you out with that. And actually, I'm thinking a herb for dreams, because if the ego wants to power down and it wants to go to sleep, let's use an herbal ally that will be able to guide us while we're in that dream state, so that we're not just having, our random astral dreams, but maybe actually working on where that fear of something new is actually coming from. And it could be just some old programming from, when you were younger, from parents, just people unconsciously, push that onto us. And so it's using this sleep as a way to avoid. And you can maybe even think of like people who maybe in your family didn't quote unquote go to sleep when, when they were trying to avoid something, but maybe they were tuning out a lot. They just weren't paying attention. Did you have like mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, cousins who just, they decided that they were going to check out? Sometimes people check out in alcohol. Some people check out in various drug use. Some people just check out and they go right to bed. Some people are just, they decide to find ways to distract themselves, so they're always mentally checked out. So they always have that excuse. So you might have noticed that growing up, and that somehow seeped into your belief system and how you function. So this herb that I want to get into, then the focus for that herb and what your healing journey is my herbal ally. I know that you're not going to give me the answers, but maybe we could work together to help me to release that portion of me that feels like I can't do something and therefore I can avoid it. I need to avoid it. I need to have an excuse. I need to check out. Where is that coming from? And when I find it, I can release it. I can rewrite my story, because you have the power to do that. You always had that power. So let's take a look. Let me just ponder on an herb real quick. Okay, good sleep. Oh, I think I have one. Right away, I was like, oh, that's a good herb. Let's see. Siren says, I never really cared about how I looked that much. Creeps have been after me all my life, even at my heaviest. So I'm more or less convinced something's wrong with me internally. Oh no. My number says, what's the opposite of insomnia? Narcolepsy? I'm not even overly tired. It's like a wave of overwhelm. Okay, that makes sense. Yes. Okay, let me find the herb first. Let me make sure this book has it, because not every book has every herb. Oh, there it is. You do have this herb. Well, fancy that. I'm just looking for it. Interesting. Well, mugwort has other uses, but although there are other herbs that are really good to use with sleep, like chamomile, linden flower, things like that. I have found mugwort to be really good when you want to take some action in your dreams. When it's like, I'm not just going to like go to sleep all willy nilly, but I have an intention tonight when I go to sleep. Some people have our friend Mary Jane is really good for that, but I feel like mugwort is also really good for that. So I suggest mugwort, but let's read about it. So mugwort contains a volatile oil, a sesquiterpene, lactone, flavonoids, coumarine derivatives, and triterpenes. Triterpenes. History and folklore. Known as Mater herbarum, mother of herbs, mugwort was used from the earliest times in Europe and Asia. Roman centurions reportedly placed it in their sandals to keep the soles of their feet in good shape. The Greek physician Dioscorides recounts that the goddess Artemis, who inspired the plant's genus name, was believed to give succor to women in childbirth. The 13th century Welsh herbal, the physicians of Maidafi, recommends if a woman be unable to give birth to her child, let the mugwort be bound to her left thigh. Let it be instantly removed when she has delivered, lest there should be hemorrhage. In 18th century, Spanish herbalist Diego de Torres recommends the application of mugwort plaster below the navel as an effective method of inducing labor. In the Isle of Man, in the UK, sprigs of mugwort are worn at the annual open-air parliamentary assembly held in Tynwald Hill. In China, mugwort has been valued for millennia. It is the principal ingredient of moxa and is used in moxibustion, a process in which heat from burning cigar-shaped roll of chopped leaves is applied to acupuncture points. Medicinal actions and uses. A digestive and tonic herb, mugwort has a wide variety of traditional uses, milder in action than most other Artemisia species. It can be taken over the long term at a low dose to improve appetite, digestion function, and absorption of nutrients. In addition, it can be taken to encourage the elimination of worms. Oh, wow. Mugwort also increases bile flow and mildly induces the onset of menstruation. The European conception of mugwort as a uterine stimulant is contradicted by Chinese usage, in which it is prescribed to prevent miscarriage and to reduce or stop menstrual bleeding. Mugwort is also antiseptic and has been used in the treatment of malaria. Do not take during pregnancy. Interesting. Okay, so scientifically, so they're saying it's like the mother herb. It's the mother of all herbs. They're saying actually that's where its Latin name comes from. So in that, for me, like I said, my dreams when I want to take some action in my dreams, mugwort is the thing. In folklore, it's been used as like the witch's flying herb, for astral travel and things like that. So it's a lot. It's really good for lucid dreaming, and I feel is the mother energy of this herb, which is the mother is like creative and wild. It's the divine feminine, right? So it's open to all things. It doesn't have these confines. It doesn't have restrictions. It doesn't have the structure and solidarity that, or not solidarity, but solidifiedness of the divine masculine. So in this feminine aspect, when you're in your dream state, I feel like you'd be open to seeing yourself from different points of view, perhaps even being different characters in your dream other than just yourself. So that you're able to let go of these avoidance tactics and let go of the reasonings or the fears of the ego and why you feel you can't do something, or I'm just going to power down. I'm just going to shut down. I'm just going to just not be 100%, So I believe that in that divine feminine aspect of that plant, being just wildly open to all possibilities and allowing you to see all of those possibilities would be very beneficial during your sleep state. So you could make a mugwort tea. Some people find the taste to be a little too earthy, so you could always combine it with something else. I would suggest cacao if you wanted to, mugwort and cacao, and maybe even roses, because if you're going to be diving into some release, you're going to want to put a little bit of self-love in there, a little heart opener in there. So I think roses and cacao would be really useful as well. Plus, it makes the tea taste better. But I leave that up to you. Let's see. Mind over numbers says, I have to look into mugwort tea and remember to add honey. Yes. Okay. Lilith says, hopefully you'll make the face I make when I drink mugwort tea because it's potent AF. Yes, I'm like, so I always add something else. I mean, I've had straight mugwort tea, if I want a pretty intense experience, especially right before bed, because it is a stimulant, but it's not a stimulant where it keeps you awake. It's stimulating the internals during your sleep state. So that REM, rapid eye movement. Let's see, my number. Yeah, I take the occasional sativa gummy that helps the most. I like sativa as well. And I'm more of a gummy person than a smoky person. Lilith says, these mugwort applications are used in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. Costalini says, do you have any herbs to alleviate the pain of filing taxes? Do we have an anti-government herb? Yeah. Anti-governmentis. Anti-disestablishment herb. Costalini says, it's sort of like a deeper inner sadness. Taxes. No fun. Lois says, probably Mary Jane, Costalini. And he says, ooh, that's a good suggestion. We got 10 days to pay or it's jail, Oh, yeah. Anywho. Lilith's like the jail adventures of Costalini and Mary Jane. Dude, I want to watch that movie for reals. Costalini says, when I left Canada, I just kind of blocked the tax authorities, stopped replying, and ghosted them. Ghost peppers for the pain. There you go. Ghost the government with ghost peppers. I like that. And if they mess with you, they get the spice. Anyway. Lilith's like wise men say, only fools rush in. Lilith's like, it's a book series. Nice. Okay. All right. Well, if there aren't any more super chats or super stickers, well then we could get to our meditation, our final thing for the sorry, it was something popped up on my phone for the end of our live chat. I like to do our guided meditation, and of course, I'm going to invite in mugwort, or not mugwort, but eyebright. Maybe it should be mugwort and eyebright and cacao. That would be quite the meditation. We should do it. I'm all for it. Yes. My soul's like, do it. Just do it. Siren says, my battery is running low. I'm at 56%. Oh no. Lilith's like trippy. And Costalini is like, ooh, that's a trio. I know, right? Okay, so cacao, mugwort, and eyebright. I dare you guys to make that into a tea later this evening, right before bed. I'll do it if you do it. I'm going to have some trippy dreams. Make sure you set an intention, though. Otherwise, they'll just be weird for no reason. Lilith's like, done. Okay, so let's do that. Let us get into our channel guided meditation. I'll get out of the way so that you guys can stare at what once was a strawberry sweet roll and just pretend it's there. Okay, I'm gonna light another incense, I believe. No, I guess that's fine. I don't want to be too distracted by Rose. I want to get in this with eyebright, cacao, and mugwort. Okay. Do we feel like an instrument? Yes, I do. Okay. Hold on. Let me grab that instrument. Okay, we are doing Tibetan singing bowl. I'm just like feeling this for this whole like clarity, heart opening. I'm ready to see myself and the world as it truly is, my reality as it truly is. I'm ready to take responsibility. I'm ready to just open it up, because when we take responsibility, we take our power back, and that's ultimately what we want to do. Mind over numbers, like eyes wide shut. Yes. Let's see. Siren says the nurses would be furious at me. Oh no. Lilith says, oh, I don't have eyebright. Damn. My number says that sounds like a recipe called The Awakening, because you're not going to sleep for 3 days after. Lilith is like, open. Okay, guys, here we go. I guess I can leave my microphone where it is. Sometimes the sound gets funky. Okay. Sorry, just moving myself out of the way. There we go. Okay. All right, go ahead and find yourself a nice, comfortable space. A place you will be undisturbed for the next several minutes. You could be in repose in your bed, perhaps situated on a chair. Maybe you're on the floor, on a cushion, or maybe you are outside enjoying the beautiful spring weather in the Northern Hemisphere, laying in the grass, listening to the birds, perhaps cuddled under your favorite tree. Whichever place is most comfortable for you. And as you begin to situate yourself, you bring your awareness to the breath, noticing the inhales and the exhales. And perhaps there are thoughts that are trotting through your mind. And the point is not to block out all thought, but to simply nod at the thought and allow it to continue to pass on through. And every time you do, you feel yourself becoming more relaxed, more at ease, perhaps even feeling the shoulders moving away from the ears, dropping down at your side. And of course, there might be sounds from the outside world, children playing outside, dogs barking, televisions that might be on. But every one of these sounds helps you to sink deeper into this beautiful, relaxed state, feeling the jaw begin to slacken, feeling the neck become more pliable. And as we do, we feel the rhythm of our breath begin to slow. Longer inhales, slow inhales, slow, long exhales. And every time we inhale, we feel more and more comforted, more at peace. With every exhale, we feel this release of tension, feeling more relaxed. Inhale and exhale. And with those breaths, we feel looseness in our hips, perhaps the tightness we once felt in our calves begins to let go all the way down to your tippy toes. And again, as you may hear outside noises, they seem farther and farther away. as you sink more deeply into your breath, more deeply into within, continuing to breathe, feeling more and more relaxed. When you hear the Tibetan singing bowl, you'll begin to feel yourself melting into the earth, becoming one with Mama Gaia. You feel the soil because you are the soil. You feel the trees because you are the trees. Sinking deeper and deeper into relaxation, melting into the earth. And when you hear the Tibetan singing bowl again, you will begin to notice, as you are the earth, as you have become the earth, you notice 3 interesting plants that surround you. Their names are eyebright, mugwort, and cacao. And because their roots touch you, the soil, your connection is instant. Allow cacao to open up your heart space now as you feel yourself sunk into the soil that is you. Your heart begins to open, and as it opens, eyebright offers you clarity to be able to see the messages of mugwort, to be guided in this next phase of your journey. And in this beautiful state, you see the interconnectedness of all, that you are mugwort, you are cacao, you are eyebright, you are the clarity, you are the heart opener, and you are the one who sees all messages as they are intended for you. As you feel their roots connect with you, you are reminded that you too are the roots. You are the trees that you are aware of in this space. You are the soil. And in this connectedness, you also feel the ultimate in connection, Creator. Creator speaking through the plants, speaking through the roots, speaking through you. So allow those voices to speak. In this state, you are absolutely open to all messages. Nothing is difficult to hear. Nothing is difficult to take in. Because you know that you hold the power. You can change anything about yourself at any time if it doesn't suit you. All messages here are for your best and highest good. They seek not to put you down or to reprimand you. They are merely showing you where your thoughts, your words, your actions are leading you so that you can take action to make the changes. Listen to what your allies are telling you. when you are ready, you'll hear the Tibetan singing bowl ring again. And at that point, you will retain all the information you have gathered thus far. This information is embedded in your soul. It's embedded in your energy and in your very being, and can be accessed at any time. And when you hear the singing bowl again, you'll begin to come back into your earthly vessel, starting to feel the return to your fingers and toes, your limbs, feeling the eyes begin to move within their orbital sockets. And when you are ready, giving yourself a nice big stretch. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me in today's chat. Sorry, there was some technical difficulties at the very beginning as we get things straightened out with my new email address, YouTube, and StreamYard. So hopefully we'll be able to reconnect that YouTube account to StreamYard perhaps by next Sunday. But yeah, thank you, Lilith, for letting everybody know at the old live stream that we're actually on this live stream. So thank you, thank you. Let's see. Siren was saying that she was laying on her bed, but her roommate's TV was on. Lilith says the birds are asleep on this side of the world, no chirping. And Siren said, I kept hearing a message, from the stars we rise to the stars we fall, light shine down upon me. These lines are from the game, specifically Xavier. His power is controlling light. Ooh, cool. Costalini said, thanks. You're very welcome, my friend. Siren said, blessed be everyone. Lilith says, I got you. Mind Over Numbers says, thank you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for voting to make those strawberry sweet rolls. That was a delicious decision that you made there. So everybody in this household is thankful. Thank you. And I'll catch you guys next Sunday. Don't forget to check out the website, thesavagewild.com. Lots of good stuff over there. Plus, you get to see Lilith Phoenix's hard work that she's done to help me out with that website. And yeah, thank you, everybody. And I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Have a happy Easter. Have a great week. Hang out with Eyebright and maybe Cacao and maybe Mugwort. And I'll catch you spiritual homies later. Stay wild, my friends. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out. Bye, guys.